I started as the master of Jin Feng's Yulu, astonishing the world with a single sword. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 626, The Master is always the master, and those who are disloyal will die. On a tall building, Chen and Yan Shizhen stood holding a long sword. Their eyes were fixed on the street, where Zeman Chuksu is walking step by step. The pace was neither slow nor fast. "You know, brother Zeman," Yan Shizhen said as he looked at Zeman Chuksu walking on the street. "Zibing alone is not worth his trip. He just wants to see other masters in the capital." Compared with Chen and Yan Shizhen, Zeman Chuksu is more loyal to the way of swordsmanship and always regards the way of swordsmanship as the highest pursuit of life. Chen has transcendent swordsmanship, but he has other thoughts in his heart. Although he has no other thoughts in this life, he still cannot achieve the pursuit of swordsmanship like Zeman Chuksu. Yan Shizhen's swordsmanship is to fight with the sword Emperor Feng. His swordsmanship is not as pure as Zeman Chuksu. To be honest, killing Zibing and staying in the capital Duan Xianaya and Liu Sheng Piaoxu can do it. But Zeman Chuksu took action. So Chen knew Zeman Chuksu's intention. Come with Yan Shizhen. The three great sword masters, no matter how strong the opponent is, they can still leave if they are defeated. They will not underestimate the masters in the capital. At this time, in the palace, in a large room, Ling Cheng, wearing a purple eunuch python robe, was sitting cross-legged. A feminine energy was constantly running in his body, and a cold air was diffused between his inhalation and exhalation. The surrounding air formed frost under this energy. After a while, Ling Cheng finished his work, and the surrounding cold air quickly gathered towards his body. After tidying up, Ling Cheng stepped out of the room and came to the hall. A man in black was waiting here respectfully. "Wait for me here, what's the matter?" Ling Cheng looked at the man in black and said. "Foster father, I just got the news that a sword master named Zeman Chuksu appeared in the Qinglong Society, and he killed Zibing, the master of Zifu," the man in black said. "What do you think?" Ling Cheng looked at the man in black and said with his eyes rolling. "Yan Shizhen of the Qinglong Society participated in the siege and killing of Emperor Wu Hao. Now Zeman Chuksu has even broken into the Zai family and killed the head of the Zai family. The Xianjian division, or the Zhenfu division, should come forward to siege and kill the people of the Qinglong Society. Father, I would like to ask for your approval to lead people to siege and kill Zeman Chuksu," the man in black bowed and said. "Are you still thinking about revenge for Lan Jiacheng? You want to use the Qinglong Society's affairs to avenge Her Royal Highness the Princess and cause a conflict between Her Royal Highness the Princess and the Qinglong Society, or to use this to cause a conflict between me and Her Royal Highness?" Ling Cheng's eyes emitted a cold light and shot at the man in black. "Foster father, I am unwilling to give up. I just want Her Royal Highness the Princess to pay a little price. Please help me." The man in black quickly knelt on the ground and begged. "Lan Jiacheng is already dead. Are you trying to follow in his footsteps?" Ling Cheng stepped in front of the man in black and said. "Please help me." The man in black continued to kneel and said. "In that case, I will grant you your wish," Ling Cheng said in a deep voice. "Thank you, foster father." The kneeling man in black looked up with joy upon hearing this. But at this moment, Ling Cheng's palms became claws, and he grabbed down with one claw, and his sharp 5 fingers directly pierced through the other's head. For a moment, red and white colors overflowed from his fingers. "Becoming Lan Jiacheng's mistress, you have forgotten who you are and what your identity is. What's the point of keeping you? Remember I told you that the master is always the master. Don't have two minds. I gave you the opportunity, but you don't cherish it, so I can only send you on your way," Ling Cheng said in a cold voice. Then he pulled his fingers out of the other's head. "Someone come here." A figure walked in from outside the house and glanced at the man in black, who was lying on the ground with an unwilling look in his eyes. He sighed in his heart. He knew the purpose of the man in black coming here. He also persuaded the other party. Murin Qingchen was appointed by His Majesty himself as the head of the Xianjian division. This is what His Majesty meant. He was not appointed by anyone else. As the chief of the 3 eunuchs in the palace, he was absolutely loyal to His Majesty and absolutely obedient. His adoptive father would not tolerate anything that violated His Majesty's will. Dispose of his body and bury it with Lan Jiacheng. It can be regarded as my fulfillment of him. You take over his affairs, and when Zimenchuksu appears, the three great warlords should take action. The people from this Hanfu division will also be dispatched. Keep an eye on them and record all the situations in detail for me, Ling Cheng ordered. His Majesty had always wanted Princess Murin to contact the Qinglong Society, to understand this Qinglong Society. But Princess Murin did not take any action. However, he found out a little information about Lan Jiacheng's death. The person who killed Lan Jiacheng was not sent by the Murin family. If it was not sent by the Murin family, it could only be someone from the Qinglong Society. It should be Princess Murin who secretly contacted the Qinglong Society to kill Lan Jiacheng. Yes, the person brought the body out. The house returned to calm. Ling Cheng did not stay in the hall, but returned to study. His eyes fell on several secret letters on the desk. On the far right was Xianaya Pavilion, followed by Qinglong Society, and the third was the Evil Alliance. The Nether Realm, Yama Palace, etc. Ling Cheng accepted the position of Deputy Director of the Xianjian Division. He looked through all the forces that Lan Jiacheng was concerned about. Among these forces, some forces need to be surrounded and suppressed. Qinglong Society, the killer organization, although there is a young dragon leader who is the leader of the Shan Gate in Lingnan County. But the others are unknown. His Majesty meant to let Murin Qingchen have more contact with Qinglong Society. What's more, Xian Dingguang, a giant in the Ministry of Personnel, has secretly left the capital and went to the 9 northern counties. At that time, there will definitely be a conflict with Qinglong Society. So it is not his target. Xianaya Pavilion, East Pavilion, Kunlun, has recently gathered a group of people to surround and kill Xianaya Pavilion, East Pavilion. I believe that this Xianaya Pavilion, East Pavilion will no longer exist. So it is not his target either. Evil Alliance, the force that Master Zhu personally pays attention to, does not need him to move. His eyes fell on the Netherworld and Yama Palace. Yama Palace has a mysterious whereabouts. It is rumored that there are 18 people, known as the 18 Yamas, who have been active in the northwest region and killed all the masters of the righteous way. The specific reason is unknown. The whereabouts are uncertain, which means that it is impossible to find it, so we can only give up. Finally, it fell on the Netherworld. This force appeared in the Andy area close to the northwest region. They worship a nether god and now vaguely want to include all the rivers and lakes in Andy into the Netherworld. Report to Master Zhu first, eradicate this Netherworld, Ling Cheng said, picked up the secret letter of the Netherworld, and went to the depths of the palace. At the same time, Qing Wu Hao, one of the 3 great warlords, appeared in front of Zimenchuksu. Blocked Zimenchuksu's way forward. Qinglong Hu, Zimenchuksu. Qing Wu Hao looked at Zimenchuksu and said yes. Zimenchuksu replied coldly. How arrogant. Seeing Zimenchuksu's expression unchanged and his cold voice, Qing Wu Hao's originally jade-like face was filled with gloom. Chapter 627, Divine Power, Heavenly Tiger Mace, breaking the sky with one sword. Your Excellency blocked my way just to say this, so please get out of the way, Zimenchuksu said coldly. Hearing Zimenchuksu's words, Qing Wu Hao's gloomy face became even uglier. He didn't expect that a killer would dare to ignore him like this. He is Qing Wu Hao, one of the 4 great war marquises. Although Emperor Wu Hao is recognized as the first war marquis, they can become one of the 4 great war marquises with extraordinary strength and ability. A killer from the Qinglong Society actually ignored him. Qing Wu Hao. How could he not be angry? Zimenchuksu, your Qinglong Society killed people in the capital for no reason, and you just want to leave like this. Do you think the capital is other places? Qing Wu Hao suppressed his anger and said coldly. Killers only kill people on mission, Zimenchuksu said simply. After the Great Zhou dynasty unified the world, it did not ban martial arts, but let its rivers and lakes develop on their own. In recent years, the constraints have been reduced. Now in the entire Great Zhou dynasty, the rivers and lakes have become the overlords of one side, and they have the power to challenge the local government. The capital has been stable before. However, in recent years, some forces have entered the capital, and with the 9 princes of the capital fighting for power, the capital's control over the martial arts world has also become relaxed. Emperor Wu Hao died tragically. As war marquises, they went to see the 3 giants of the military. But the 3 giants of the military said that before His Majesty went into seclusion, He said that the affairs of the martial arts world were under the jurisdiction of this Hanfu division. If this Hanfu division could not handle it, then it was a matter of the martial arts world. That is, let them handle it on their own. His Majesty was in seclusion. They could not see His Majesty. They could only unite the ministers in the court and prepare to raise this matter when the 9 emperors met. However, the meeting of the 9 emperors had to be postponed because the eldest prince was in seclusion. This made King Wu Hao and others very frustrated. So when they knew that Zimin Chukso of the King Longhu appeared, the 3 war marquises came after hearing the news. King Wu Hao's mansion was the closest to here, so he came first. He wanted to get the whereabouts of Yan Shizhen from Zimin Chukso's mouth. Although Emperor Wu Hao's head was cut off by someone, it was Yan Shizhen who made the final blow. So Yan Shizhen must be left behind to sacrifice to Emperor Wu Hao. You Jianghu people are too presumptuous. I want to see what you can do. King Wu Hao's jade-like face turned cold, and his eyes stared at Zimin Chuksu. Huh? He waved his palm and a green light slid down from his right hand. It was a bronze mace. Although King Wu Hao looked like a jade, he had considerable strength. Among the 4 great warlords, he used bronze maces as weapons. He did not underestimate Zimin Chuksu. The swordsmanship of the opponent was very strong. He might not be able to defeat the opponent. But he did not need to defeat the opponent. The other 2 warlords should have arrived. One of the 4 warlords had gone, so the 3 warlords had formed an alliance at this moment, and the city was united. At this time, on the high building, Yan Shizhen looked at the situation of the 2 parties and said, "This King Wu Hao is very powerful. Let's not let others disturb their battle. I'll stop Zhong Wu Hao." After saying that, Yan Shizhen's figure turned into a residual shadow and rushed away. Yi Guchen, who was standing aside, also followed. He wanted to stop Yu Wu Hao, one of the 3 great war marquises, and prevent them from disturbing Zimin Chuksu's battle. At this moment, many warriors from various forces gathered on the side. This Zimin Chuksu doesn't look like a killer. How can a killer be so upright? One person said in a low voice. Maybe Zimin Chuksu is very confident in himself, so he is like this, said someone on the side. Confidence, even if he gets away in front of King Wu Hao, other war marquises will come, not to mention that the people of this Hanfu division are not jealous, one person said. The opponent's strength is not simple, and he must have the confidence to dare to do this. This person has a sharp sword intent and cold eyes. He is definitely a master at the peak of the sword. Such a person must have a trump card. Some warriors can sense the sharp sword energy on Zimin Chuksu. Compared with King Wu Hao, who is familiar to the public, more people are commenting on Zimin Chuksu who just appeared. At this time, King Wu Hao, with a bronze mace in his hand, burst out with a fierce aura. The fierce aura is like a tiger, pressing towards Zimin Chuksu with violent power. Zimin Chuksu's sword energy burst out, resisting this momentum. His eyes also became sharp. This King Wu Hao's strength is not simple. Divine power, Xiansha Tiger Mace. King Wu Hao's cold voice appeared in everyone's ears. Compared with other people, as the overlord of the battlefield, King Wu Hao must first suppress the opponent in momentum, and do his best as soon as he makes a move. Without any reservation, the bronze mace was raised, and the terrifying murderous aura condensed on the bronze mace, and a violent tiger was formed. Looking at the murderous aura bursting out of the opponent's hand, Zimin Chuksu's eyes were full of surprise. Only by fighting with such a strong man can you improve your swordsmanship. Zimin Chuksu, but he has dedicated his whole life to swordsmanship. Sword power, one sword breaks the sky. After Zimin Chuksu entered this world, his only wish was to break the gate of heaven with one sword, so he created the divine power. One sword breaks the sky, and the sword comes out. The world suddenly loses its color. The huge sword energy condensed in the air, like a giant pillar supporting the sky. The breath emanating from it made people palpitate. For a moment, on one side, the fierce aura was diffused, and a tiger took shape and pounced. On the other side, the sword energy was like a pillar, extremely sharp. Before the 2 forces came into contact, the sky and the earth were surging, forming a storm. The eyes of the people watching the battle were horrified. Boom! The 2 people attacked at the same time. The sword light collided with the tiger's claws. The tiger was cut by the sword energy and swept towards him. King Wu Hao spit out a mouthful of blood, a light flashed in his eyes, and he shouted in a low voice, "Tiger Golden Genki!" A violent Genki appeared around him. The sword energy split into the Genki, shattered the Genki. but it was blocked by the bronze mace in his hand. And his body was shaken away. He looked at Zumanchuksa with horror. His divine momentum was shattered by the opponent's sword. It also split his Genki. If it weren't for the bronze mace to resist, he would probably be seriously injured by the opponent's sword. Kill you. Zumanchuksa didn't kill the opponent with one sword, but his body didn't slow down at all. He moved his feet and his body instantly turned into a residual shadow and went towards the opponent. The longsword in his hand slashed out again. You don't have the qualifications to kill me. Although the situation was critical, Qing Wuhao was a war Marcus of the Empire. How could he not have any other means? A fierce look burst out in his eyes. A mouthful of blood sprayed on the bronze mace in his hand. The bronze mace quickly absorbed his blood. Tiger roar, explosion, the true energy in his body quickly poured into the bronze mace. With a burst of true energy, a tiger rushed out of the bronze mace. As the tiger came out, it roared and formed a terrifying air wave. And the sharp claws burst out a terrifying air force and slashed towards the sword light. Zumanchuksa was slashed out with a sword, and his body was repelled by this air wave. The burst of sword energy was also blocked. This weapon is not ordinary. It seems this is your last resort. Zumanchuksa looked at Qing Wuhao and said coldly. Chapter 628, Qing Wuhao is defeated. Zumanchuksa becomes famous in the capital. It's the last resort, but it's also the strongest resort. The bronze mace in the hand of Qing Wuhao chopped out instantly, and chopped several times in a row. The dazzling black light attacked Zumanchuksa like a meteor shower. Zumanchuksa chopped out with a long sword in his hand. Clang! Clang! The sound of metal interlacing broke out. The longsword and the bronze mace kept colliding, and a series of sparks burst out. All of this was as fast as lightning. After the attack, Qing Wuhao's figure turned into faint light and kept approaching Zumanchuksa. He wanted to use the power of the bronze mace in his hand to suppress Zumanchuksa's sword energy, and thus suppress Zumanchuksa. For a while, the sword light and the mace light kept colliding, bursting out with sky-high light. The surrounding air was all dispersed by this light, and the ground where they fought was even more broken, and dust flew. Bang! The figures of both sides fell. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of Qing Wuhao's mouth, but his eyes became more fierce. He looked at Zumanchuksa and said coldly, you take such good care of your sword and use your own sword energy to protect the long sword, but you won't be able to hold on for long. Zumanchuksa didn't say anything, but took a step forward and slashed with a long sword in his hand. The speed was too fast, and it collided with the air and made a sharp whistling sound. The sharp sword energy turned into cold light and slashed towards the opponent. The ripples of the sword energy spread in all directions, and the rocks paved on the street gradually cracked under these ripples. The cold light flashed in the eyes of Qing Wuhao, and the bronze mace in his right hand slashed again, facing the sword light. The bronze mace collided with the sword energy. A terrifying wave of air was emitted. Both of them were shocked and retreated. Boom! The sword energy in Zumanchuksa's body rushed into the long sword frantically. The sword energy was crisscrossed on the long sword. Although his long sword was not ordinary, it was still far from Qing Wuhao's bronze mace, so in order to protect his long sword from being chopped into pieces, he used his own sword energy to wrap the long sword. But Zumanchuksa didn't like being in a passive situation, so he took the initiative. Divine power, a sword breaks the sky. The sword light burst out, emitting a dazzling light. It is impossible to open your eyes. Qing Wuhao's face condensed. All the strength of the body poured into the bronze mace, and his own divine power was also activated to cooperate with the bronze mace. With a blessing of the two forces, a terrifying murderous aura burst out from the bronze mace, and the murderous aura surged like waves. Ling. The two forces collided. Zumanchuksa only felt a strong recoil force coming from the long sword in his hand, and his body moved back several steps before he stabilized his body. On the other side, Qing Wuhao's body also retreated several steps, and a recoil force surged from his arm. A little numb, the right hand holding the bronze mace was a little unstable. For a moment, the bronze mace fell to the ground. He raised his hand to grab the bronze mace back. But at this moment, Zumanchuksa leaped out, slashing with a long sword in his hand, aiming directly at Qing Wuhao. The brilliant sword light. Like the bright stars in the sky, it passed by. Boom! A terrifying aura burst out from Qing Wuhao's body, trying to resist the sword force. But the sword force penetrated the aura and slashed at Qing Wuhao's body. Puff! A stream of blood gushed out from Qing Wuhao's body, and gurgling blood spurted out from the wound. "I didn't expect to lose," King Wu Hao said, half kneeling on the ground. There was no reluctance in his eyes. Zimin Chuksu was indeed stronger than him. King Wu Hao lost. The bronze mace of King Wu Hao is a weapon-level weapon given to him by His Majesty. It can burst out power beyond its own, but I didn't expect to lose to Zimin Chuksu. Some people saw the horror on the face of King Wu Hao lying on the ground. "No one is paying to kill you. This time, this bronze mace is the price." When Zimin Chuksu spoke, he raised his hand, grabbed the bronze mace in his hand, turned around and left quickly. When he left, a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. King Wu Hao's strength is not as good as his, but the opponent's divine power with the help of the bronze mace is not weaker than his. If the opponent's hand is not unstable. He was thinking about taking back the bronze mace. Zimin Chuksu wanted to defeat him, and he had to fight for a while. At this moment, Zimin Chuksu felt very happy. He let out a long roar, jumped, and turned into a white shadow and disappeared quickly. Looking at the disappearing Zimin Chuksu, the half-kneeling King Wu Hao's eyes turned black and fainted on the ground. On the other side, Zhang Wu Hao was locked by a terrifying sword energy, and his fierce aura formed a gang energy, and his eyes swept around fiercely. Just now when he was on his way, he found that he was locked by a sword energy. This sword energy is very terrifying. So he stopped and resisted this sword energy. But the opponent's sword energy was condensed but not released. So he didn't dare to move. When the long whistle sounded, the sword energy that locked him disappeared instantly. On the other side, Yu Wu Hao was in the same situation. He was locked by the sword energy. But in the end, he suddenly put away his sword and disappeared. The two people's faces changed and they quickly went forward. When the two arrived, they saw King Wu Hao lying on the ground, and their expressions changed. "What's going on?" Zhang Wu Hao raised his palm, grabbed a warrior and asked. "Qing, Zimin Chuksu of the Qinglong Society defeated King Wu Hao, but did not kill King Wu Hao. King Wu Hao should just be unconscious," the captured person stuttered. Bang! While speaking, he was thrown aside by Zhang Wu Hao. Yu Wu Hao appeared beside King Wu Hao here. "Check King Wu Hao's injuries. He is not dead, but unconscious. I have stopped bleeding from the wound. After a period of recovery, he will be fine. However, this person's sword energy is sharp, and his sword cultivation is no worse than that of the person who stopped me. You were also stopped by a swordsman, and so was I, and I feel that the person who stopped me should be Yan Shizhen from the Qinglong Club. I have felt its sword intent in Emperor Wu Hao," Zhang Wu Hao said solemnly. "Three sword masters, the Qinglong Club, has 3 sword masters who are concentrating in the sea," Yu Wu Hao said in a deep voice. "Take King Wu Hao back first. The other party did not kill King Wu Hao this time. We are grateful and will withdraw the pursuit of Yan Shizhen from the Qinglong Club," Yu Wu Hao then said. Zimin Chuksu has the ability to kill King Wu Hao, but he did not. The other party gave in. They did not need to fight to the death with the other party. The other party is just a killer who kills people for money. If they want revenge, they will find the person who offered the reward to Emperor Wu Hao. Zhang Wu Hao hugged King Wu Hao and turned away. For a moment, the battle here ended. However, the news that Zimin Chuksu of the Qinglong Society defeated King Wu Hao spread quickly. On the other hand, when Zai Mufeng and the housekeeper returned to the Zai mansion, they saw Zai Bing's body lying in the middle of the hall. Zai Mufeng's eyes flashed, but he pretended to be very horrified and quickly came to Zai Bing's body. "What's going on? Tell me who killed the master of the family," he said sternly to the servant beside him. "Zimin Chuksu of the Qinglong Society," the servant stuttered. Chapter 629, the successor of the Changsheng Society, Holy Sword Lake, Tai's Hong Tang, and the leader of the Evil Alliance. Late at night, Xianjianzi King Wu Hao was defeated, the bronze mace was taken away, Zimin Chuksu of Qinglong Club, and 3 sword masters, looking at the secret letter in her hand. Murin Qingzhen's face changed slightly. If only 1 sword master appeared, she could understand it, but now 3 masters appeared. Qinglong Club must have a big move in the capital this time. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many masters. Who are they going to deal with? Murin Qingzhen thought in her heart. But fortunately, King Wu Hao was not killed. If King Wu Hao was killed, I'm afraid they really wanted to encircle and suppress Qinglong Club. Even if Xianjianzi, didn't move, the military would definitely move, killing 2 great war marquises in a row. The military couldn't help but move. Even if the three giants of the military were suppressing them, other people in the military would move. The strength of the military is unquestionable. The strength of the Qilin Club is a little beyond my expectations. Maybe I should meet Bai Tianyu of Golden Wind and Rain Tower again. He should know the big things that are about to happen in the capital, Murin Qingchen said. Murin Qingchen knew that the incident should have happened recently. She couldn't wait to investigate it herself. Although she had taken over some of the power of the Xianjian division, she could not know some secrets for the time being, and could only investigate from the outside. After thinking for a moment, she secretly left the Xianjian division. At this time, another place Ling Chang appeared in a large room. You have come to my place twice in a row today, Zhu Pingxian, the former head of the Xianjian division, who was dressed in white, looked at Ling Chang and said, "Head, there are some changes. It's about the Qilin Club. They have 3 sword-fighting concentrated masters who appeared in the capital." Ling Chang bowed and said, 3 sword-fighting concentrated masters, this Qilin Club is really surprising. They came here to participate in the battle on the 15th day of the full moon. Don't pay too much attention, Zhu Pingxian said, surprised, but his face and tone were very calm. It seems that he did not have any special emotional fluctuations because of the 3 concentrated masters of the Qilin Club. Your latest mission is to destroy this underworld. You can fight for supremacy in the martial arts world, but you must eradicate those who mislead the people. Zhu Pingxian's tone was quite serious when he said this. You personally lead people there, and don't leave any alive. His tone was murderous and decisive. This was Zhu Pingxian, the first executioner under Emperor Zhou. I will do it myself, Ling Chang bowed and said. He understood the other meanings in Zhu Pingxian's words. It was to let him leave the capital recently. In other words, no matter what happened in the capital later, the Heavenly Supervision Division would not send out experts. Because as the deputy chief of the Heavenly Supervision Division, who was in charge of the Divine Guards, he was not on the Heavenly Supervision Division, so the Divine Guards of the Heavenly Supervision Division could not be mobilized. He couldn't help but think in his heart, what exactly are the chief and his majesty planning, but he didn't dare to ask more, and bowed and left the palace. After Ling Chang left, Zhu Pingxian slowly picked up the teacup and took a sip of tea. Emperor Master, it's already this time, why haven't you come to see me yet? Zhu Pingxian frowned slightly. He didn't believe that as an Emperor Master, he didn't know about the actions of the Evil Alliance. But until now, there seemed to be no movement in the Emperor Master's mansion, which was beyond Zhu Pingxian's expectation. The Xianjian Division monitors the movements of the world and can be said to be the top information agency of the Great Zhou dynasty. Every move of the capital and many places in the world is under surveillance. The Emperor Master's mansion was unusually quiet, which made him puzzled. But he couldn't find out anything. While he was thinking, a black figure appeared in the room. Master, Your Highness left the Xianjian Division late at night and should be going to Xian'ai Pavilion to ask about what is going to happen recently, the man in black said, half kneeling. The princess who knows about this may go to the Emperor Master's mansion, so that she can help me see the reaction of the Emperor Master. Zhu Pingxian's eyes lit up. Don't worry about this matter, just pay attention. Zhu Pingxian waved his hand. The successor of the Changsheng Society has been born. It has been so long, but we still haven't found him, Zhu Pingxian said in a deep voice. The whereabouts of this person have been found. He is not in the capital. On the way to Shengjian Lake, my subordinates have arranged people to make arrangements at Shengjian Lake. As long as this person arrives, he can be quickly captured. As for the successor of the Bulao Tang, his whereabouts have not been determined yet, the man in black hurriedly said. Shengjian Lake, it seems that the disciple born by the Changsheng Society this time is a swordsman, but don't be careless, there should be a master of the other party to protect him. Continue to explore and find him in the shortest time, Zhu Pingxian said in a deep voice. Emperor Zhou needs to get the immortal elixir and the secret book of longevity before the evil dragon is completed. The evil dragon has already raised its head. This time, something happened in the capital. If the emperor's teacher falls, it will definitely speed up the completion of the evil dragon. So his time is also very tight. Another place in the capital, East City, Xian'ai Lake. It was late at night and only the sound of insects could be heard. The breeze blew. Tai Hongtang was standing in a pavilion by the lake. He was waiting for someone. After Bai Tianyu contacted the Evil Alliance, the Evil Alliance replied that they would meet Tai Hongtang here. A figure appeared by the lake, looked at Tai's Hongtang in the pavilion, and walked towards the pavilion. Tai's Hongtang sensed the person coming, turned around, and looked at the man in black who was walking towards the pavilion. He was wrapped in black clothes and had a mask on his face. His aura was restrained and no aura could be detected. His eyes condensed slightly. This person is not simple. Tai's Hongtang's heart moved. The great leader of the evil alliance, the person who came into the pavilion, spoke and introduced himself. His voice was hoarse and the specific sound could not be heard. Xian'ai Pavilion, Tai's Hongtang, this time I met with the people of the evil alliance, mainly to fulfill the alliance between my master and your alliance, Tai's Hongtang said. Your master. Hearing Tai's Hongtang's words, the great leader's tone was slightly surprised. The leader of the North Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion, Yi Di, is my master, Tai's Hongtang said. Hearing this, the visitor showed a look of surprise on his face. Tai's Hongtang's strength is definitely stronger than Yi Di. Judging from the strength he showed at the entrance of the East City, he is definitely not someone who has just stepped into the sea to concentrate his mind. He should have been a strong man who has concentrated his mind in the sea for a long time. He underestimated the North Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion. This time, we contacted your alliance about the 15th day of the full moon. I believe that your alliance and us formed an alliance because of this matter, Tai's Hongtang said. The 15th day of the full moon was initiated by my evil alliance. I don't know if Deputy Pavilion Leader Tai has any doubts, the leader of the evil alliance said. The imperial teacher is the teacher of the emperor of the Great Zhou dynasty. Not to mention his strength, his identity, we are so blatant, aren't we afraid of being surrounded and suppressed by the royal family of the Great Zhou dynasty? I don't believe that your evil alliance has such strength to resist the wrath of the royal family, Tai's Hongtang said. The Great Zhou royal family will not pay attention to this matter. We have received accurate information that the Great Zhou emperor will seek a breakthrough on the 15th day of the full moon. At that time, all the royal forces will gather in the imperial city to protect the safety of the Zhou emperor, the Great Alliance leader said. Chapter 630, Alliance, Xian'ai Pavilion, replaces, Zhenwu Garden. The Great Zhou emperor has broken through and opened the heaven gate. Upon hearing this, Tai's Hongtang was shocked and looked at the great leader of the evil alliance. From the information he had received, after concentrating one's mind, one can achieve shattering. And shattering can also break the heaven gate. As for what will happen after breaking the heaven gate, Tai's Hongtang didn't know, because they didn't have any information. No, the great leader shook his head. Our Emperor Zhou is not an ordinary person. The cultivation method he practices is somewhat different from that of ordinary people. The breakthrough is not breaking the heaven gate, but it is very important to the Emperor Zhou. This time I was invited to come here, and I also want to inform you of this matter, and in fact, our real purpose is not to deal with the Emperor's master. We want to cause fluctuations in Zhenwu Garden. By dealing with the Emperor's master, our target is the things in Zhenwu Garden, the great leader said. Tai's Hongtang showed great strength and also conflicted with Zhenwu Garden. So after discussion, the evil alliance informed Tai's Hongtang of its own purpose. Deal with Zhenwu Garden. Tai's Hongtang was stunned. He didn't expect that the purpose was to deal with Zhenwu Garden and take things from Zhenwu Garden. But Zhenwu Garden didn't seem to have any relationship with the Emperor Master. But Tai's Hongtang didn't ask. He had seen the sincerity of the evil alliance by being able to tell the real purpose of the evil alliance. So there was no need to ask anything else. Thank you for telling me, but I, Xian'ai Pavilion, will not help you deal with Zhenwu Garden, Tai's Hongtang said. Now, Xian'ai Pavilion and Zhenwu Garden are in a hostile relationship. But if Xian'ai Pavilion helps the evil alliance to deal with Zhenwu Garden, then Xian'ai Pavilion will become a gun in the hands of the evil alliance. Because the evil alliance has no strongholds and is a hidden force. They have 2 strongholds in the capital. Once they fight, when Zhenwu Garden can't find the evil alliance, it will inevitably point its spearhead at Xian'ai Pavilion. Although they, Xian'ai Pavilion, are not afraid of Zhenwu Garden, the power of Xian'ai Pavilion is not that strong in the capital. Last time, he showed his might at the gate of Zhenwu Garden, and he also intended to intimidate the other party. Deputy Pavilion Master Tai is worried about the counterattack of Zhenwu Garden. Don't worry, I also intend to destroy Zhenwu Garden in the capital this time. What's more, I got the news that Qin Jilin is going to use Zhenwu order to attack Xianaya Pavilion after the 15th day of the full moon. Although Qin Jilin is the general manager of Zhenwu Garden, he can't mobilize the C-concentrated spirit masters of Zhenwu Garden, but he can mobilize the C-concentrated spirit masters in the garden by using Zhenwu order. He wants to deal with you. We have become mortal enemies. We can take this opportunity to work together to eliminate Zhenwu Garden, so that Xianaya Pavilion can replace Zhenwu Garden in the capital, the leader of the Evil Alliance said. Hearing this, Tai's Hongtang fell into deep thought. After a moment, he said, "Your idea is very tempting. It is a good idea for Xianaya Pavilion to replace Zhenwu Garden. I agree with your plan." Okay. Hearing this, the great leader showed a smile in his eyes. "Today is an appointment to meet on the 15th. I will take my leave first." After saying this, the great leader of the Evil Alliance turned and left. Tai's Hongtang did not stay here and turned and left. The night was calm, without a single ripple. Jian and Jinling on the flower boat, the lights were bright. Su Chen stood on the huge boat, eating cakes and reading the book in his hand. It was very comfortable. Suddenly, a figure appeared in Su Chen's room. "Meet the master, this is the head of Emperor Wu Hao." But when I came to the capital, His Excellency Yan Shizhen suspected that this head was not the real head of Emperor Wu Hao, General Yajiyu Tajima said, carrying the brocade box on his back and putting it aside. Yan Shizhen suspected that this is not the real head of Emperor Wu Hao. Su Chen frowned slightly. Yes, but when Marcus de Wu rushed out of the ruins, Lord Yan Shizhen slashed him in half with one sword, but Lord Yan Shizhen said that Marcus de Wu was very strong. Even if he was injured at the time, he should not have been able to slash him in half with one sword if he did not use the 15th sword, Yajiyu Tajima said. Hearing this, Su Chen's eyes condensed. He believed in Yan Shizhen's intuition. If so, it means that Marcus de Wu may have faked his death, and they just killed a substitute for the other party. Whatever, Marcus de Wu is already dead. As long as we take the head of Marcus de Wu to the black market, we can take away the reward for Marcus de Wu on the black market, Su Chen said. Now that the head has been brought back, then we must go to the black market. Many people know that Marcus de Wu was slashed in half by Yan Shizhen's sword at that time. There is still a sword energy left by Yan Shizhen on this head, which can prove that it is the head of Marcus de Wu. I will go to the black market tonight to collect the reward, Yajiyu Tajima said. The black market is not simple. I will let the four ghosts of Xiangxi go to the black market with you, Su Chen said. The strength of Yajiyu Tajima is at the level of Danshan turning into the sea, and it is still a little short of concentrating in the sea. However, Yajiyu Tajima's ability to escape is first class. If he encounters a strong man who concentrates in the sea, even if he is defeated, it is not a problem to leave. But just in case, let the four ghosts of Xiangxi follow him, and help to resist when necessary. Thank you, my lord, Yajiyu Tajima bowed and left the room, turning into a black shadow and leaving. As Yajiyu Tajima left, the four figures also left quickly in the dark. I wonder if the fake Emperor Wu Hao can be exchanged for the reward silver, Su Chen murmured. Then he continued to read the book. But not long after reading, Yuan Su Ain walked into the room. My lord, Nanguang Kishu, Nanguang family, Jinling City, came to visit, Yuan Su Ain reported. Nanguang family, Nanguang Kishu, she came to visit me. The body that was originally half-lying stood up slowly, frowning slightly. Not many people knew about his news in Jinling. Why did Nanguang Kishu come to visit him at this time? Did she find something? Please let her in first. There was no need to guess what the other party was doing. Since the other party came to visit, why not let Su Chen meet the other party? Yuan Su Ain left. After a while, a woman in a black dress with a veil on her face followed Yuan Su Ain into the room. I'm disturbing you late at night, Master Su, young Master Su. Please forgive me for visiting you late at night. Nanguang Kishu's voice was soft and icy. Although her face could not be seen clearly, her figure and voice were also very attractive. In the ranking of the Heavenly Immortal list, Nanguang Kishu was ranked the second most beautiful woman in the world, 1 point higher than Zhuang Zuanji. When Su Chen was looking at Nanguang Kishu was also looking at Su Chen. Although his face is not handsome, he exudes a different aura, and there is also a sense of elegance in his aura, which makes people feel good. Of course, there is also a faint sense of oppression. The young dragon leader of the Qinglong society is much stronger than the rumors outside. Miss Nanguang, Please sit down. I wonder why you come here so late at night, Su Chen said. Young dragon leader Su, I came here this time to ask you to stop attacking Jile Palace, Nangguang Qiushu said. Chapter 631 Black and White Zhuangjian, Black Market Bank, Ghost Tomb. Hearing this, Su Chen frowned slightly. Miss Nangguang, I don't understand what you mean, Su Chen said. Young Master Su, isn't the Qinglong Society targeting the Paradise Palace? Recently, I heard that Zhao Xiaodi went to Lingnan County to meet young Master, Nangguang Chu Shui said. Could it be that Miss Nangguang has something to do with the Paradise Palace? Su Chen looked at Nangguang Chu Shui and said. I am one of the noble daughters of the Paradise Palace, and I am also the person arranged by the Nangguang family in the Paradise Palace. Now the Paradise Palace in Jinling is under my control. If young Master Su stops targeting the Paradise Palace, all the cash that the Qinglong Society previously obtained from the two branches will belong to the Qinglong Society, Nangguang Chu Shui said. Recently, another branch of the Paradise Palace was also taken down by Wei Zhuang. But the cash was not much, only half of the last time. Okay, Su Chen said. They have come to him, and they have found him. It seems that they have investigated a lot of information. The words have been made clear. Su Chen has no need to continue to target Paradise Palace. After all, the task entrusted by Zhao Xiaodi has been completed. Nangguang Chu Shui did not expect Su Chen to agree so directly. Just after she finished speaking, she was still waiting for Su Chen to propose conditions. I will personally meet the 7 dragon heads in Jinling City and ask him to give up targeting Paradise Palace, but the Nangguang family is a 1,000-year-old family with a collection of ancient books. I want to enter the Nangguang family library and take a look. Su Chen looked at Nangguang Chu Shui and said. Zhuang Zuanji's father is a businessman and does not have many books. I plan to meet him these 2 days and take a look at some of his collections. But in terms of ancient books, no one in Jinling City should be able to compare with the Nangguang family. That's why he had this idea. Nangguang Chu Shui's beautiful eyes fell on a pile of books in the house, and a book opened next to the recliner behind Su Chen, and she vaguely understood something. No wonder this young Master Su has a refined aura, but the young master of the Green Dragon Society is a bit idle. Green Dragon Society is a killer organization, and the young master is actually a person who likes to read. Young Master Su, the Nangguang family's library is a forbidden area and is not convenient for the public, but I can lend some books for young Master Su to read. I don't know which books young Master Su is interested in. Su Chen had given in before, and she also needed to return the favor. Although Su Chen was not allowed to enter the Nangguang family's library, she could help Su Chen borrow some books. Thank you very much, Miss Nangguang. Su Chen's face showed a hint of joy. Recently, he has read almost all the books in Zhuang Zuanji's collection. He has also accumulated 3 orange lottery cards. He was still thinking about how to trigger the lottery again, but he didn't expect Nangguang Qiushu to give it to him. After the deal was settled, the two did not seem as restrained as before and began to talk. Although Nangguang Qiushu's voice was soft, he was also very generous. It can be seen from the fact that she came directly to Su Chen. After a conversation, Nangguang Qiushu said goodbye, but left a token for Su Chen, the token of Nangguang family, representing Nangguang Qiushu. It's a pity that I didn't see her face. Put the token into the space ring, and let Yuan Su I notify Wei Zhuang to stop targeting Paradise Palace. The other party has already found them and made precautions, and there will be no more gains. So it is meaningless to target Paradise Palace. I just didn't expect that this Nangguang Qiushu is actually one of the noble daughters of Paradise Palace. I don't know what kind of practice she practices, but her coming here gives me the opportunity to contact the old family, Su Chen said in his heart. With the opportunity of Nangguang Qiushu coming, maybe I can have good luck. Think of the 3 orange lottery cards in my mind. Draw them directly, get the character Black and White Zhuangjian, get the Black and White Zhuangjian weapon Zhuangjian, and get 1 Wei Zhuang Shenxi perception card. Yeah, looking at this lottery, Su Chen's face showed joy. The character He Bai Zhuangjian is a character from Qin Shi Mingyu and Yanxing Jiu Jia. He is a top-ranked killer in Luo Wang, bloodthirsty and cruel. Su Chen then checked the character information. He Bai Zhuangjian is stronger than Wei Zhuang, reaching the level of C concentration, but there is no note. However, with his weapon, he is definitely a strong man in the C concentration. Wei Zhuang's Divine Power Perception card. This helps Wei Zhuang to condense his divine power. Without any hesitation, he directly uses the Divine Power Perception card. At this time, in an underground secret room, Wei Zhuang, who was practicing, suddenly changed his expression. A huge breath instantly poured into his body, vaguely beginning to rouse the divine power that he had not yet condensed. His eyes condensed, his spirit was focused, his mind sank into it, and he felt it, cooperating with what he thought in his heart. As his perception continued to improve, a strange aura appeared around Wei Zhuang. Another place, the underground black market in Jinling City. In fact, in other places, the underground black market is also called the ghost market. It's just that the ghost markets in other regions are a mixed bag, gathering all kinds of people and getting some things that are not common in the market. But the underground black market in Jinling is not ordinary. When he appeared in Jinling City, the black market existed for a long time and gradually formed a system. Money houses, restaurants, killer organizations, everything is available in the underground black market. And the reputation of the money houses in the underground of Jinling City has not changed for thousands of years. Otherwise, the reward offered by Emperor Wu Hao at the capital would not be issued in the underground black market of Jinling City. There are many top forces in the black market of Jinling City. These forces are very terrifying, but they do not expand and have always been in the underground black market of Jinling City. Another thing is that the underground black market in Jinling City is very large. The size of Jinling City is as large as the black market. Because the underground black market in Jinling City is just below Jinling. The entrance to the black market is everywhere outside Jinling City. In a cave. Yajayu Tajima entered it wearing black clothes and black robes and carrying a package. The cave is very large, and there are some people like him wearing black robes and covering their faces. After all, this is one of the entrances to the black market. This kind of dress is very ordinary. Yajayu Tajima is going to one of the underground forces, Ghost Tomb. The bounty is issued from Ghost Tomb, so he needs to go to Ghost Tomb to collect the bounty. On the dim street, an endless stream of people come here. They are all martial artists. The dim night is not a problem for them at all. Soon, Yajayu Tajima appeared in front of a bank. There is a huge word money in the middle of the bank, and under the word money is an evil ghost head, which looks a bit hideous. There are not many people in front of the bank, which looks a bit desolate. The large black market bank, Ghost Tomb, does not receive everyone. Inside the bank, a thin old man was dozing off, and next to him, a servant was sleeping on the counter. When Yajayu Tajima walked in, the dozing old man and the servant woke up instantly. Look at Yajayu Tajima. Yajayu Tajima didn't care. He came to the old man and put the package on the counter. The old man touched the package and his eyes narrowed. He raised his hand slightly. When he saw the head inside, his face changed. Please wait a moment, the identification will be completed within an hour. After the old man said that, he picked up the package and walked into the backstage of the bank. Yajayu Tajima no Kami did not stop him. According to the rules of the Jinling black market, when he entered the bank, he was protected by both the Ghost Tomb and the black market. As long as the identification was completed and he received the reward, the Ghost Tomb and the black market masters would protect him to leave the black market. As for outside the black market, he could only rely on his own ability. Chapter 632, The Fake Emperor Wu Hao's Head, Lady Jili's Confidence. 3 people were sitting in a dimly lit building. A fat man with a face full of flesh was eating meat. Next to him was an old man in a black robe. The old man's eyes were unusually sharp. Opposite the two sat a woman in a blue palace dress, who was the previous palace master of Paradise Palace. Madame Jili, the head of Emperor Wu Hao is here. I have checked it. There is no problem with the facial features. The wound was also cut by a sword, and the sword energy was extremely sharp. There are no extra marks. It should be the sword of Yan Shizhen of Qinglong Society. This Yan Shizhen's swordsmanship is very strong. Among the people I know, only 5 people can match him, but no one can surpass him. From the swordsmanship marks, no one can imitate it. This should be the head of Emperor Wu Hao, the old man in black robe said in a deep voice. This, Qinglong Society, is really not simple. I heard that they also have a swordsmanship master named Yi Guchen. The swordsmanship is extremely elegant and sharp, and there is a feeling of flying fairies from the sky, Madame Jili said in a deep voice. She was still somewhat grateful to the Qinglong Society, and Xianaya Pavilion, Because they killed Du Guibao, who was my eldest son. This gave her son room to go further. I just don't know who this person is. He actually snatched the head of Emperor Wu Hao at the last moment. How strong is this person? Madame Zhao asked. The news of the siege of Emperor Wu Hao's mansion in the capital has been spread. 5 powerful C-concentrated spirits surrounded Emperor Wu Hao, killing 2 C-concentrated spirits, severely injuring Emperor Wu Hao, and finally being killed by Yan Shizhen with a sword. But in the end, someone took away Emperor Wu Hao's head at the last moment, and there was a yellow bird behind. This is not something our ghost tomb needs to take care of. We are just offering a bounty for you. We are not in a position to disclose the other party's strength. Now that the head has been brought, it is time for us to offer a bounty to others. Now you are still short of the agreed cash of 15 million taels. We, Ghost Tomb, can help you advance the payment, but within a month, you need to take out 30 million taels of cash. At this time, the old man in black robe said coldly. He doubled the amount right away. This is also one of the businesses of their bank. Upon hearing this, Madame Giles' face condensed slightly. If the Gile Palace branch had not been robbed, her money would have been collected long ago, and there would not be a shortfall of 15 million taels now. Originally, she thought that the other party might not come to claim the bounty so soon, so she should give her time. Let her collect the bounty. But the other party did not give her time. Now she can only grit her teeth and agree. Okay, but I want to take the head away, Madame Giles said. No problem, the old man in black robe nodded. Come here, the old man in black robe said at this time. Creaking, the door was opened, and the old man who had received Yajayu Tajima no Kami walked in. Give the reward amount to the other party, and the other party can choose the gold notes that are universal in the black market business, or the gold notes that are universal in business across the country, and if the distinguished guest is willing, we can provide him with our ghost tomb black card, the old man in black said. Yes, the old man who came and bowed and left the room. Old kin, you are very optimistic about the other party. Madame Geely walked in front of the Emperor Wu Hao's head and said. Being able to leave in front of 3 C-concentrated masters, I certainly value him very much, the old man in black robe said. It's really good, but I hope they can leave Jinling City safely. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. Madame Geely wrapped up the Emperor Wu Hao's head in front of her, turned around and left through another door. After Madame Geely left, the man eating the meat looked at the old man kin in black robe and said, Old kin, do you think there is something wrong with the head of Emperor Wu Hao? Problem? I don't see it. I just didn't expect that Emperor Wu Hao would be beheaded so easily. Emperor Wu Hao can be called the first war Marcus. He was appointed by Emperor Zhou to replace Dugu to take charge of the South China Sea region for me. His wisdom and strength are extremely extraordinary. He shouldn't be killed so easily. However, the battle scene in the capital was fed back. It was reported that Emperor Wu Hao was indeed killed by Yan Shizhen with a sword. The sword energy left on his head just now can't be fake, the old man in black robe said in a deep voice. So you are going to give the black card to the person who comes. It is a test, and also just in case. The fat man bit a big piece of meat. Then he put it down, wiped the clothes on his chest with his oily hands, and stood up and said. If it's fake, the other party may not know it himself. I'm going to protect that guy and see if I can detect anything by the way. After that, he turned and walked out of the room. Boom. Boom. The ground shook as he stepped on it, but when he left the room, there was no sound from his footsteps. This shows that he has a strong control over his own strength. Outside the bank, General Yajayu Tajima left the ghost tomb bank and entered the crowd. He entered a dark street. A black mist appeared on his body. When the mist dissipated, there was no one on the dark street. Some spies who were monitoring around the ghost tomb were startled when they saw this. They checked around but found nothing. The fat man who followed him out was also stunned when he saw this. What a brilliant hiding technique, but don't underestimate me, ghost tomb. As he spoke, a flying insect appeared in his hand. The flying insect flew towards the place as soon as it appeared. After tracking for a while, the flying insect stopped in an undercurrent. Amazing. After so many years, if someone can still get rid of the colorless and odorless soul-chasing incense, it's really not simple. No wonder he was able to snatch the head of Emperor Wu Hao from the hands of the sea-concentrated strong man. You are really cautious. If you don't want us to protect you, then rely on yourself. The fat man turned and left. Not long after, Ghost Tomb, took off the previous reward for Emperor Wu Hao. For a time, the whole black market was shaken. Some spies around Ghost Tomb instantly thought of the Yajayu Tajima no Kami who was wearing a black robe and was lost by him. It's that person took the reward silver. Soon this news spread quickly. Not only the black market was moving, but even some major forces in Jinling City were moving. The money was too generous, and no one would not be jealous. Although there are few clues, as long as you look for it, you will definitely find the other party's traces. On the other side, Madame Zhao also appeared in a courtyard in Jinling City with the head of Emperor Wu Hao. The courtyard is extremely simple. Late at night, in a house, the lights are still bright. Du Wei, wearing a brocade robe, was among them. Madame Zhao, wearing a blue palace dress, pushed open the door and walked in. The head of Marcus de Wu has been taken to the black market, and the reward has been taken. I believe that many people in Jinling City will be looking for this person tomorrow, Madame Zhao said as she placed the head of Marcus de Wu in front of Du Wei. Du Wei looked at the black package, waved his hand, and a beam of light came out, splitting the package, and the two halves of Marcus de Wu's head appeared in front of Du Wei. Du Wei stepped forward and looked at the split part. The blood had dried up, but there was still some sort energy on it. Such sort energy can still be left for such a long time. This, Qinglong Society, Yan Shizhen has a very deep swordsmanship. Feel the sort energy on Marcus de Wu's head. Suddenly, Du Wei's face condensed, and he said in a deep voice, Emperor Wu Hao, it seems that I underestimated you. What's wrong? There is something wrong with this head. This is not the real head of Emperor Wu Hao. Emperor Wu Hao served in my camp in the past. Although others can't see this head, it still can't escape my eyes. I think the person who finally hijacked Emperor Wu Hao's head was his own arrangement. Is this to exchange the power of the South China Sea region for the reward I gave you? Du Wei said coldly. I'm going to the Ghost Tomb now. No, Emperor Wu Hao's actions have already shown that he will not appear, so there is no need to expose this fact. Exposing the facts is not good for us, but we still have to get the reward back. You take back the head and the package. There should be a way to find this person. Notify Huge Duan and Du Fengli to come, and let them help you recover the reward from that person. The reward from Emperor Wu Hao is not so easy to get, Du Wei said. You understand me? I don't think I can let this reward leave Jinling City. Madame Ji Li showed a confident look on her face. Why did she bring back the head and the package? Not only for Du Wei to see. Also, because the package and the head were brought by the other party, in such a short time, there must be the other party's scent on them. As long as she remembers the scent, she can find the other party. Chapter 633 Nanguang Family, Nanguang Wenshan. Madame Zhao wrapped up the head of Marcus de Wu. She turned and left. I will bring back the reward within 3 days. Madame Zhao turned and left. At this time, at a dark corner of the street, Yajayu Tajima appeared, looked around, found nothing, and moved his hand slightly. 4 figures appeared in front of him. They were the 4 ghosts from Xiaxi who followed him. This is the reward ticket. Please bring it to the master. I will wait for a while before going to see the master, Yajayu Tajima said. He would not underestimate the warriors of this world. It is possible that the other party will find him in a special way. So he will not go to see Su Chen in the near future, so as not to bring trouble to Su Chen. One of the 4 ghosts from Xiaxi took the gold ticket, and then the 4 turned into shadow and left. In the flower boat of Jinling Lake, 4 figures flashed in from the window. Master, the reward money has been obtained. Mr. Yajayu is afraid that he will be stared at, so he will not come to see the master for the time being, one person said. Su Chen put the gold ticket into the space ring. This is the biggest fortune he has ever gotten. A single transaction will get 10 million taels of gold tickets, and an orange lottery card will be awarded. When Su Chen put the gold ticket into the space ring, he actually got an orange lottery card. Not bad, Su Chen nodded. 4 figures quickly disappeared in front of Su Chen. After the 4 people left, Su Chen frowned slightly. There are endless strange people and strange things in the martial arts world of the Great Zhou dynasty. It is really possible to find Yajayu Tajima no Kami. We still have to send someone to protect him. Then he called Bai Tianyu. When Bai Tianyu was drawn, Su Chen asked Yuan Suin to tell Bai Tianyu about the situation in this world. Especially some situations in Jinling City and Jiangnan. Bai Tianyu wore blue clothes, tight leggings, clean and neat, with a slender and upright figure, a blue headband with a red ribbon tied casually, and black hair. On the shipbuilding, there were still a few strands of hair floating and the red ribbon fluttering lightly in the breeze. The black belt decoration on his waist makes him look more casual and unrestrained, but his eyes are deep and painful, and the scar in the middle of his eyes makes him look a little cold-blooded and arrogant. Black and white Zhuangjian can be said to be a contradictory person. He is a crazy and bloodthirsty killer. But he is also a passionate and gentle person. Loving someone is just a sad and beautiful love. It's a pity. Su Chen's eyes fell on the weapon in the other party's hand. Zhuangjian, one black and one white Zhuangjian double-edged, the positive blade takes life, and the reverse blade calms the soul. It is divided into black and white double swords, black is Zhuan, and white is Jian. It is rumored that the white sword is a guardian sword to protect relatives. The black sword is a killing sword to eliminate enemies. I need you to protect someone, don't leave anyone alive when you take action, Su Chen said. Yes, black and white Zhuangjian's words are very simple. Take Mr. Zhuangjian and contact Yajiyu Tajima no Kami, Su Hao said to the four ghosts of Xiangxi who were hiding in the dark. Another place, the largest manor in Jinling City. Only an ancient family, the Nangong family, the first family in Jinling, can own such a manor. There are 4 major families in Jiangnan, and the Nangong family is one of them, occupying Jinling City. Nangong Kishu, wearing a black long skirt, walked into a secret room. In the secret room, there are 2 people. One is wearing a brocade robe, with a majestic face, looks only about 40 years old, with a gentle face like jade, a slender figure, a dragon-like posture and tiger bones, and a pair of white and delicate palms, which are much longer than ordinary people's fingers. It is the head of the Nangong family, Nangong Wenchen. Next to him, there is also a woman in a purple long skirt standing. The woman's face is exactly the same as Nangong Qiushu's. It's just that Nangong Qiushu's eyes are colder than the others. There is a hint of tenderness and charm in the other's eyes. It is Nangong Qiushu's twin sister Nangong Yiren. Nangong Wenchen has no sons, only 2 daughters. Jianghu overlords all have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but Nangong Wenchen is very loyal. He only loves one person in his life, that is, his wife Fa. A childhood sweetheart, she died of dystocia when she gave birth to Nangong Qiushu and the others. Since then, he has never been attracted to any woman again. Have you met the young leader of the Green Dragon Society? Nangong Wenchen said. Reporting to my father, I have met him. He is a little different from what I imagined. His own strength should be stronger than mine. He is not overbearing. He agrees not to attack Paradise Palace anymore, but from what he said, the commander of the Green Dragon Society in Jinling City is not the 4th dragon leader Fu Hongsu, but the 7th dragon leader Wei Zhuang, which is somewhat contrary to a previous guess, Nangong Qiushu said. 7th dragon leader Wei Zhuang? I didn't expect that. In addition to the 4th dragon leader Fu Hongsu in Jiangnan, the Green Dragon Society also has a 7th dragon leader Wei Zhuang, Nangong Wenchen said in a deep voice. This Qinglong Society is not simple. The 4th dragon leader Fu Hongsu, the 3rd dragon leader Li Chenhao, and the sword master Yan Shizhen are all powerful concentrated masters. The appearance of Qinglong Society in Jiangnan may bring great changes, Nangong Wenchen said afterwards. Father, in fact, the young dragon leader Su wanted to enter our Nangong family's library. I have rejected it, but I promised him that I would give him some ancient books. We should have a good relationship with Qinglong Society, and strive to cooperate with him. In that case, Qinglong Society will not accept our commission to assassinate people from my Nangong family, Nangong Qiushu said. Sister, do you want me to contact the young dragon leader Su? Nangong Yiren on the side said. Although the young dragon leader Su is not domineering, I think this person has a strong mind and is not an ordinary person. Yiren, you'd better have less contact with him. Nangong Qiushu looked at Nangong Yiren and said. Nangong Yiren didn't say anything, but her eyes flickered, and it seemed that she would not listen to Nangong Qiushu's advice. Just now, the black market received news that the bounty offered by Marcus de Wu has been taken away. No one in the black market is targeting this person, but the amount of money is huge. If someone finds this person, our Nangong family will also fight for it, Nangong Wenchen said. The amount is so large that his Nangong family also wants it. This money should be paid by Jile Palace. Madame Ji Li will chase it, but this person dares to take the bounty at this time. He must have some trump cards. We should observe first and then decide whether to take action, Nanguang Qiushu said. Ordinary people should wait for this wave of rumors to disappear before claiming the bounty. After all, when Marcus Dewu died, many eyes were staring at this bounty, but the other party dared to do so, which only means that the other party had some confidence. I have sent spies to find Madame Ji Li. As long as Madame Ji Li is found, we should be able to find the other party. At that time, when the two sides fight, we will benefit. You don't have to do anything about this matter. I will let other people in the Nanguang family do it, Nanguang Wenchen said. The next morning, the warriors in Jinling City are talking about the fact that the bounty offered by the god Wu Hao in the black market has been taken, and many people are looking for the person who took the bounty. The martial artists in the whole city of Jinling seem a little crazy. Money is attractive. Too much money, who wouldn't go crazy? As long as you get a little, you can rise to the top in one step. Some forces even offer a bounty. As long as you provide clues, you can get a reward. In the city, in a courtyard, 3 figures fell. The leader is Madame Gile, and there are 2 people beside him. One of them is slender, wearing a dark blue robe, with a short beard under his chin, smiling, and looks like he is about 50. Of course, he is definitely not young. This person is called Huge Duan, and he is a guest official in Du Yui's mansion. Another big man, carrying a long knife on his back. The blade is wide and the handle is heavy, giving people the feeling that the knife is very heavy, and another retainer Du Fengli. It's not long since we left. From the traces, it seems that there is only one person on the other side, Zhuge Duan said after checking the situation in the courtyard. This person is not simple-minded. After receiving the reward last night, he did not leave Jinling City immediately, but stayed in the city. This is something that others would never expect, but he can't escape from my grasp. When Madame Giles spoke, a black butterfly appeared in her hand. The butterfly circled in the courtyard and flew towards a place. Madame Giles took the butterfly in her hand and followed the guidance of the butterfly. They came to the east city of Jinling City. He left this morning. Did he follow the group of warriors who left the city and mixed in the search team? Madam, should we continue to chase him, since we know he is outside the city? If we act during the day, it will definitely attract too many people. If we act at night, we can surround and kill him and get rid of him as soon as possible, Madame Giles said. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 634, Wind and Thunder. Black and white Zhuangjian appear. In the dark night, in a dilapidated temple, Yajayu Tajima no Kami was lying on a wooden pillar in the dilapidated temple, holding a long sword. His body was wrapped in a dark robe, and his face was covered with a black cloth, revealing his eyes that were extremely solemn. This morning, he felt that he was being watched. This was an intuition. He had been thinking in his heart, where exactly he had revealed a flaw, or what could allow the other party to find him. The emptiness and silence made his thoughts turn quickly. Suddenly, a light flashed in his eyes, and he knew where he had made a mistake. I didn't expect that someone could find my trace with a little bit of residual smell, Yajayu Tajima no Kami thought to himself. Then he closed his eyes and adjusted his breath. Rumble. At this moment, thunder appeared in the sky, turning the dark day into bright day from time to time. Swish. 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 3 figures appeared outside the dilapidated temple. The leader was Lady Ji Li. Her eyes fell on the ruined temple in front of her. Today's weather is really helping me, Madame Giles said, looking at the sky where thunder was roaring from time to time. In this kind of weather, people can't find the battle here. Because the sound of the battle was covered by the roaring thunder. Let's go and see who the other party is. Madame Giles pushed open the door of the ruined temple. Step into the ruined temple. In the temple, Yajayu Tajima no Kami, who was leaning against the wooden pillar in the temple, changed his face, moved his body, and instantly disappeared. 3 figures walked into the dark ruined temple. No one was noticed. Madame Giles' eyes condensed. The butterfly flew out of her hand before. Boom. At this time, thunder and lightning suddenly sounded. Swish, a knife light appeared instantly when the thunder and lightning sounded, and the butterfly that had just flown was split in half by the knife light at this moment. But when he took action, he also exposed his breath. Du Fengli, who was carrying a long knife beside Madame Gile, suddenly emitted a light in his eyes. Cut! He grasped the handle of the long sword with his right hand and slashed it out instantly, with a terrifying sword energy. Yajayu Tajima no Kami retreated quickly, grasped the long sword with both hands at the same time, and slashed it out. Bang! His body was hit by the powerful sword energy and hit the wall, knocking a hole in the wall, and his body fell outside the ruined temple. When his body fell, the man who made the move kicked the ground with his foot, and his body flew up and punched out. The wall of the ruined temple collapsed instantly, and this man rushed out and blocked Yajayu Tajima no Kami's way. You want to leave after being stopped by me? Hand over the gold node and I will give you a whole body. Lady Ji Li followed, her face covered with frost. The black butterfly she had worked so hard to cultivate was slashed by Yajayu Tajima no Kami with a sword. Now she wanted to tear the other party apart, but the gold node was still in the other party's hands, and she had to get the gold node. Yajayu Tajima no Kami, his expression did not change, and his eyes stared at the three people fiercely. Madame Gile and the person who just attacked him gave him a strong pressure. Their strength should be at the level of concentrating the mind in the sea. As for the old man in the dark blue robe, the fluctuation of his aura was at the level of Danchin turning into the sea. If you still want to resist, hit him hard first, Madame Gile said with a cold look in her eyes. Boom! Du Fengli's footsteps instantly exerted force and his body attacked Yajayu Tajima no Mori. He slashed with a long sword in his hand. The heavy sword light made the air ripple. He did not use the power of God. Because Yajayu Tajima no Mori's strength was not enough for him to use the power of God. Yajayu Tajima no Mori's eyes tightened. He held the sword with both hands. He did not retreat. In front of such a strong man, retreating head-on would be waiting for him. Endless attacks would be waiting for him. At that time, the only result would be being seriously injured or killed by a sword. Kill! Yajayu Tajima no Mori shouted in a low voice, and all the sword energy on his body burst out, and his mind was also integrated into his long sword. Killing God with a sword, he stepped on the ground, and his body did not retreat but advanced, and slashed with a sword. The sword energy was filled with violent and murderous energy, forming a sharp blade. Du Fengli's face moved slightly, and a sound of wind and thunder appeared on the long sword in his hand. Wind and thunder sword, the falling long sword instantly became faster. It collided with the long sword of Yajayu Tajima. Peng Yajayu Tajima was shocked and flew backwards, spurting out a mouthful of blood, and blood flowed from the wrist holding the long sword. The robe on his arm was shattered by lightning. The opponent's heavy long sword was carrying the power of lightning. The sword technique just now was very murderous. But you haven't comprehended the divine power. It's hard for you to fight me alone. Du Fengli looked at Yajayu Tajima. Yajayu Tajima's eyes did not change at all. He raised one hand, and several golden needles appeared behind him in an instant. Swish! The golden needles fell and landed on various acupuncture points behind him. The energy on his body began to surge, and a red light appeared in his eyes. Then he suddenly stepped on the ground, and his whole body turned into a black figure, rushing out violently, and his speed was much faster than before. Du Fengli's eyes condensed, his expression became solemn, and his body moved sideways. At the place where he staggered, a flash of knife light flashed down, with a bloody sharp knife aura, leaving a trace of several feet on the ground. The attack missed, and the long sword in the hand of Yajayu Tajima Sho cut across, and the terrifying knife aura burst out. Du Fengli lay horizontally with his long sword, blocking the attack, but his body was shocked back. Suddenly Du Fengli's face changed, and his face became ferocious. A terrifying momentum burst out from his body. Divine power, wind and thunder slash, Du Fengli snorted coldly, and the divine power burst out. A terrifying sound of wind and thunder appeared on his body, forming a terrifying pressure. Yajayu Tajima Sho was shocked by this terrifying pressure and stepped back several steps. He stepped and inserted his long sword into the ground to stabilize his body. But the opponent raised his long sword and was about to strike. Just when the opponent's divine power was released, the surrounding atmosphere suddenly changed. The light produced by the thunder and lightning in the dark night suddenly changed. Du Fengli, who had originally released divine power, focused his eyes. He felt that his divine power seemed to be suppressed. He looked in one direction. Not only him, but even Lady Gile and the others looked in one direction. At this time, a figure came towards this side. Where the figure walked, The surroundings began to become dark. The space that was originally bright from time to time became dark. The figure, holding two long swords. Suddenly, the figure changed and soared into the air. In a blink of an eye, it turned into several figures and attacked Du Fengli. Du Fengli, holding a long sword, slashed. The wind and thunder energy burst out, but it was a phantom that was slashed. Several figures gathered into one person and appeared in front of him in an instant. He hurriedly returned the sword. Bang! But the powerful double-edged sword energy shook him away. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out. He looked at the figure that fell to the ground. The person who came was none other than Black and White Zhuangjian. Let your soul become a part of me. Black and White Zhuangjian's voice was very low. Before he finished speaking, he had already appeared in front of the opponent and slashed with both blades at the same time. The injured Du Fengli hurriedly resisted, but the powerful sword energy knocked him away again. At the moment of being knocked away, Black and White Zhuangjian rushed out and the long sword in his hand slashed across the opponent's body. Chapter 635, Crush like killing, no one survived. Blood splattered. A huge scar appeared on Du Fengli's body, and blood spurted out. The severe pain made him recover, but another black long sword pierced his heart veins, shattering his heart veins. Suddenly, a black energy flowed from Du Fengli's body into the long sword and into the body of Bai Zhuangjian. Turning around, with cold and fierce eyes, he looked at Madame Zhao and Zhuangjian. At this time, the two people's faces changed. The person who appeared killed Du Fengli in a blink of an eye. Du Fengli's divine power just now was completely suppressed. He had no chance to display it and was killed by the opponent. This person was a bit scary. Who are you? Madame Zhao's face changed drastically, and she and Zhuangjian both defended themselves. Madam, you go first, Zhuangjian said in a deep voice beside Madame Zhao. The opponent killed Du Fengli with one blow. The strength was terrifying, and they were afraid that they could not defeat him. Want to leave? You saw me, do you still think you can leave? Bai Zhuangjian, with cold eyes, had a terrifying aura on his body. Divine power, Xian Shijilu, a terrifying dark aura burst out from him, and the black curtain that was originally condensed around him suddenly became larger. When Bai Zhuangjian appeared, he condensed his own divine power, but his divine power was different from that of others, and was scattered around. Sir, how about we give up this robbery? Zhuangjian looked at Bai Zhuangjian and said. While speaking, a silver light suddenly appeared in his left hand, and a silver shotgun that was only 1 foot long. Divine power, phantom bliss. When Zhuangjian moved, Madame Bliss shouted in a low voice, and a huge momentum appeared around her. As the momentum came out, countless graceful figures appeared around, and a corrupt breath continued to appear from these figures, temporarily blocking the divine power emitted by Bai Zhuangjian. At this moment, Zhuangjian moved his body, and instantly turned into green afterimage, appearing in front of Bai Zhuangjian. The silver shotgun in his hand shot out instantly. The shotgun burst out, forming a silver light, suddenly tearing the darkness. A powerful spear force burst out from the shotgun. Clang! It was just a quick shot, but it was blocked by a black long sword. The charging figure paused, his eyes changed, and he quickly pulled back the silver shotgun. And instantly shot again. This time the shotgun turned into countless silver gun shadows, which were very dazzling in the night sky. Clang clang clang. But all his attacks were blocked by the long sword. For a moment, stars of fire splashed out, and he couldn't get close at all. On the other side, Madame Zhao made a move. A terrifying black energy appeared in her palm, and her figure turned into a phantom, and in the blink of an eye, she killed in front of Bai Zhuangjian. But a sword light shot out like thunder and collided with her palm. At the intersection, the air suddenly exploded. The figure was shocked back. Zhuangjian, who had made a move earlier, was even more shocked back by this energy. Boom! Black and White Zhuangjian kicked the ground and shot out. His two swords appeared in front of Zhuangjian like a phantom. The long sword in his hand was like the god of death, and it instantly cut across the opponent's neck. Swish! Blood gushed out from the opponent's neck. Seeing this, Lady Zhao's face changed and she retreated quickly. She was no match at all. If she stayed here, she would be killed. But when she turned around, the surrounding black airflow enveloped her at the same time, shattering her divine power. Puff! The divine power was shattered and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Her own energy was suppressed at this moment. She looked at Black and White Zhuangjian. At this moment, black and white Zhuangjian held a long sword in both hands, and his eyes were as strange as a bloodthirsty demon. In his eyes, she was like prey at this moment. If you kill me, you will die too. I am the woman of General Wang Duguwei, Lady Giles said. Now he can only use Duguwei to see if he can make the other party afraid. But there was no change in black and white Zhuangjian's eyes, which were full of cruelty and ruthlessness. Boom! A flash of lightning flashed between heaven and earth. Swish! Suddenly, black and white Zhuangjian changed his figure and appeared beside Lady Giles, ruthlessly inserting the long sword in his hand into the other's body. The terrifying sword energy tore the other's internal organs. A black airflow flowed from the other's body into black and white Zhuangjian's body. Plop! The long sword was retracted, and Lady Giles fell to the ground. Boom! At this time, a thunder roared again in the sky and earth. Then, raindrops began to fall. But black and white Zhuangjian's expression did not change. His eyes looked at a place. After watching for so long, it's time for him to show up. Black and white Zhuangjian looked at a corner of a ruined temple and said coldly. In the dark corner, a figure in a purple robe changed his face, but did not walk out. Swish! But before he could move, black and white Zhuangjian turned into thunder and appeared in front of the other party. The longsword in his hand turned into a rolling murderous intent and slashed out. Boom! The corner was instantly shattered and collapsed. The purple-robed figure quickly retreated. Sir, I am Nangong Shuang, the fifth elder of the Nangong family, and I don't want to be your enemy. When Nangong Shuang spoke, he looked at the other party with vigilance. The other party's strength was terrifying, and he was no match for him. Originally, he had thought that when Madame Ji Li and the other party were both injured, he would take away Yajayu Tajima no Kami, but he didn't expect that Madame Ji Li and the other three would only last a few moves in the hands of the other party. The other party was a bit cruel. Die! Black and white Zhuangjian shouted in a low voice, and the energy on his body burst out. He rushed out, and the two long swords in his hands instantly slashed out, split, and turned into dozens of long swords, piercing the invisible darkness and covering the vital points of Nangong Shuang's body. Nangong Shuang only felt that he was enveloped by the terrifying sword energy, and his whole body was shaking. Divine power, Shining Divine Fist, boom. At the critical moment, Nangong Shuang used his divine power to dispel this fear. He punched out, and a violent fist force vortex burst out from his fist, tearing everything apart and colliding with a long sword of Hebei Zhuangjian. Bang! The fist force collided with the sword force, and a terrifying airwave burst out. The two figures were shocked back. But at the moment of shock, Hebei Zhuangjian's figure was not affected at all, and he turned into a residual image again and appeared in front of the other party. Your soul will merge into my body. Hebei Zhuangjian showed a cold look at the corners of his mouth, appeared in front of the other party, and the two long swords in his hands slashed out instantly. Nangong Shuang, who was shocked back, had not yet stabilized his own blood and ki. Hebei Zhuangjian had already killed him. He could only punch to resist, but Hebei Zhuangjian's attack was swift and violent, and his ki and blood were constantly consumed. More and more blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Bang! His body was chopped back by a sword, and he lay on the ground with a blurred look in his eyes. He tried to struggle to stand up, but a figure appeared in front of him and stabbed his body with a sword. His eyes darkened and slowly closed. He was powerless to struggle, and he was no match for the opponent. Who is this person? This was his last thought. Chapter 636, Bat Blood Essence, Bone Sculpting and Muscle Coagulating Pill. Boom. The originally dripping raindrops instantly turned into a downpour. Blood continued to flow out with the rain. Yajayu Tajima no Kami took out the corpse powder from his arms and turned all four corpses into a stream of corpse water, which flowed away with the rain. Only a long knife and a short silver spear were left on the ground. The two then disappeared in the rain. At the same time, in a courtyard in Jinling City. In the study, the lights were swaying and seemed to be shaking a little. Du Wei, who was standing in the study, suddenly changed his expression and looked outside the house. The rushing raindrops made him frown slightly. I have a bad premonition. This is the second time since I came to Jinling. I am uneasy. Is there something wrong? Du Wei said in a deep voice. At this time, a man in a straw raincoat appeared outside the courtyard, pushed open the door, and appeared outside the study, next to the window. He did not enter the house but just stood outside. Raindrops flowed from the straw raincoat and hat. His eyes were cold under the bamboo hat, revealing a chill. Nangong Shang left Nangguang Mansion and has not returned. Su Chen, the young leader of the Qinglong Society, appeared in Jinling City and met Nangguang Keishu. The branch of Jile Palace was hijacked by the Qinglong Society, the visitor said. Su Chen, the young leader of the Qinglong Society, is the one who teamed up with Beidao in the Lingjiang area. I didn't expect him to come to Jinling City. Dugu Wei's eyes moved slightly. Dugu Beidao died in the Lingjiang area. In fact, it had a lot to do with Su Chen. If the Qinglong Society hadn't given the previous interests of the Sea Shark Gang to Guan Yushan of Xianaya Pavilion, Guan Yushan would not have been let out, and his son would not have died. Does the Qinglong Society have masters in Jinling? Dugu Wei said. From the information we have received, the 7 dragon leaders of the Qinglong Society, Wei Zhuang, are in Jinling City, the visitor said in a deep voice. 7th dragon leader Wei Zhuang? How strong is he? Dugu Wei said in a deep voice. Now, there are masters in the Qinglong Club. There are 5 people that he should pay attention to. The 3rd dragon leader Li Chenhao, the 4th dragon leader Fu Hongsu, Yan Shizhen, Yi Guchen, and Zuman Chuxu just came from the capital. Among them, there are 3 masters of the Sea of Concentration in the sword. They are very powerful. The force that surprised him was rising at a fast speed. It is second only to Xianaya Pavilion. Thinking of Xianaya Pavilion, Dugu Wei's eyes were filled with murderous intent. The last person who benefited from the Lingjiang area was Guan Yushan, and Bu Yangxiao's woman became Guan Yushan's subordinate. So he wanted to seek revenge from Guan Yushan for killing his son. Originally, he was thinking that after dealing with the affairs of Emperor Wu Hao, he would go to the Lingjiang area to meet this Guan Yushan in person. First pay attention to this, Qinglong Club, young dragon leader, and try not to come to me, otherwise, Nangguang Wenchen's guy will be suspicious, Dugu Wei said. The man in the straw raincoat turned around and left without saying a word. After the man in the straw raincoat left, Dugu Wei frowned slightly. As for why he didn't mention Nangguang Shang, it was because Nangguang Shang must have been targeting Madame Jile. But he believed that even if Nangguang Shang took action, he would not kill Madame Jile. But the bad premonition just now made Dugu Wei look a little bad. Come here, Dugu Wei whispered. While he was speaking, a man in red walked in from outside the study. The man's face was pale and bloodless, but his fingers were slender and white like a woman's fingers. Maybe this man has the skills in his hands. Lord, the man in red called Dugu Wei the Lord. Lord is the name of the minister to the monarch. It can be seen that Dugu Wei's ambition is not small. Go and investigate the situation of Madame Hong, Dugu Wei said. Madame Jile's real name is Mu Can Hong, and Dugu Wei has always called her Madame Hong. Yes, the man in red withdrew. After a while, he walked out of the courtyard with a red umbrella. I hope nothing will happen, Dugu Wei said in his heart. Another place Su Chen stood on the flower boat, watching the rapid rainstorm outside. The rainstorm in Jiangnan was more violent than that in the 9 northern counties, and there were strong winds from time to time. Now this flower boat has been booked by Su Chen alone. In addition to the chef under the building boat, there are only Su Chen and Yuan Su Ian, as well as the 4 ghosts of Xiangxi in the dark. 2 figures broke through the rain curtain and appeared on the building boat. Yajayu Tajima no Kami, his breath was a little messy, and he was pierced by the golden needles, and he was suppressed by the opponent's divine power, so he suffered some injuries in his body. Heal your injuries first, Su Chen asked Yuan Su Ian to arrange a room for him while speaking. As for He Bai Jian, Su Chen planned to let him stay by his side. Compared with Yi Guchen and others, He Bai Jian was suitable to stay by his side. The 4 ghosts of Xiangxi might be enough to protect him, but their strength in killing was a little weak. As the young dragon leader, he still needed a master by his side. Who are the people who appeared? Su Chen said. Madame Jile brought 2 people, one of them was able to concentrate in the sea, and the other had just transformed from Danshan into the sea. She herself was able to concentrate in the sea, and both of them were not very powerful. There was also Nangguang Shang from the Nangguang family who appeared, and concentrated in the sea, and all 4 of them were killed, Hebei Zuanjian replied. I didn't expect that the Nangguang family and Jile Palace should have a cooperative relationship. It seems that they want to be the fishermen? What a pity, Su Chen sighed. Su Chen still admired Nangguang Keishu very much. She was beautiful and straightforward. I hope we won't become enemies, Su Chen murmured. He told Hebei Zuanjian to rest, and he closed the window and went to a room. When Zhuang Zuanji came today, he brought him some rare treasures, saying that he had obtained some unidentified items from some pawn shops. Zuanjian not only runs a bank, but also some pawn shops. Walk into the room. The items were placed in each room, and Zhuang Zuanji had already helped him to place them. Maybe I can go meet Zhuang Zuanji's father, Zhuang Mingfen, the real owner of the third bank tomorrow, Su Chen thought to himself. With a gold note in hand, let's see how to take it out without attracting attention. As the owner of the third bank, Zhuang Mingfen can definitely do it. He picked up a Buddha head carved from an unknown material in front of him. No reaction. The second one was a somewhat rusty sword blade. Although the sword blade was rusty, it still had a little bit of sword energy left. The moment Su Chen picked it up, Holy Sword Lake, the first swordsman's broken blade, reward 1 orange lottery card, Holy Sword Lake? The first swordsman's broken blade, Su Chen frowned slightly. He had read a lot of stories recently. He knew that the first swordsman of Holy Sword Lake referred to the first-generation swordmaster of Holy Sword Lake, Han Xiaojun. Back then, he was not only the first swordsman of Holy Sword Lake, but also the first swordsman in the world. But he was a figure from 500 years ago. I didn't expect that this sword blade would be the opponent's broken blade. Continue to investigate. Then he got 2 orange prize cards in a row. Plus the one he has, he now has 4 orange lottery cards. Just draw them, get 30 years of Yuan Suian's Heavenly Realm Strength, get a drop of Bat Blood Essence, get a Bone Shaping and Muscle Coagulation Pill, get 3 bottles of Heavenly Pill, 30 pills bottle. Well, what is a drop of Bat Blood Essence? Su Chen didn't care about the other things, he was concerned about the Bat Blood Essence. After checking, he found that it was actually given to Yuan Suian. Yuan Suian is called the Bat Prince. After swallowing this Bat Blood Essence, he can circulate the true ki in his body to form a special true ki covering his body, wrapping his body into a bat form, able to see at night, and unparalleled speed. As for the Bone Shaping and Muscle Coagulation Pill, it helps warriors reshape their bones, and can be given to Fu Hongxue to treat his lameness. Chapter 637 Nangguang Yiren, Yuan Suian takes action. The next day, the blazing sun was hanging high in the sky. The weather seemed a bit sultry. A red figure appeared at the ruined temple last night. Looking at the ground washed by rain and the 2 weapons left on the ground, the man in red changed his expression and checked carefully. After a moment, he muttered, "There are not many clues, but the battle range has not left this area. The strength of the people coming is much stronger than them." Then his eyes looked at a place. A figure came out from there, wearing a green robe. "Nangguang Kingxuan, your Nangguang family is here too," the man in red said as he looked at the figure that appeared. "There are 2 people on the other side, they are very strong, there is no suspense in the battle, 1 person killed 4 people," the man called Nangguang Kingxuan said. "Who are you coming?" Hearing this, the man in red frowned and said. "Nangguang Shuang," Nangguang Kingxuan said. 3 people who were concentrating their spirits in the sea were crushed and killed, and their bodies were destroyed. There were no useful clues at the scene. The person who came was not only strong, but also had extraordinary thoughts. When the man in red spoke, a cold light flashed in his eyes. "Yes, he is very strong. But the people of my Nangguang family will not die like this." "How did you find the other party?" the man called Nangguang Kingxuan said. "There were some before, but not now." The man in red turned and left. The clues were washed away by the rain, and the remaining traces could not be distinguished at all. There was no point in staying here. "The great Qi Lilang just gave up like this," Nangguang Kingxuan said. "If you Nangguang family can find this person, you can contact me and I will take action." The man in red quickened his pace, and in a blink of an eye, only a red afterimage was seen. It seems that they can no longer find this person. This matter must be reported to the head of the family as soon as possible. People from my Nangguang family were killed in Jinling. If it is spread out, it will damage the reputation of my Nangguang family. Nangguang Kingxuan frowned slightly. He came here early to investigate. The reason he didn't leave was that he wanted to wait for Du Yue's people to come and see if he could find the person through them. Now it seems that the other party can no longer find the person who took the gold ticket. After thinking for a moment, he turned around and left quickly. Jinling Lake, outside the Su Chen Lao boat, the lakeside. An exquisite carriage slowly came to the flower boat where Su Chen was. A white-dressed Zhuang Zuanji got off the carriage. Su Chen's identity had been investigated, so she didn't hide it and came directly. Today she was taking Su Chen to see his father Zhuang Mingfen. But when she got off the car, another carriage appeared beside the river. Nanguang Yiren, wearing a purple long skirt and with a beautiful face, got off the carriage. Nanguang Yiren, Zhuang Zuanji frowned slightly. She didn't expect Nanguang Yiren to come here. After Nanguang Yiren got off the car, two maids got off the carriage. They carried a box. In the box were some ancient books borrowed by Nanguang Qiushu from the Nanguang family library. Nanguang Qiushu was supposed to come, but Nanguang Qingxun returned and brought back the news of Nanguang Shuang's death, so Nanguang Yiren came instead of her. Zhuang Zuanji didn't expect you to be here too. I forgot to hear that your fiancé, Zhang Beiho Xingchen, was killed. I didn't expect you to be an unmarried widow at such a young age. Nanguang Yiren looked at Zhuang Zuanji and said coldly. Although Nanguang Yiren usually looks charming, this Nanguang Yiren is different from Nanguang Qiushu. She has been going back and forth among the talents in Jiangnan. She lacks a little temperament, so when ranking on the Xiangxin list, Nanguang Yiren's ranking is still below Zhuang Zuanji. While Nanguang Yiren was speaking, a figure walked out of the carriage. The person who came was a young man in a green robe with narrow eyes. When he saw Zhuang Zuanji, his eyes lit up. Miss Zhuang, I thought that after Brother Xingchen was killed, you would go to Jiangbei Huoji as Huang, but I didn't expect you to be in Jinling City, the young man in the green robe said in a low voice. My business is none of your business. Zhuang Zuanji's eyes turned cold, and he ignored the two and headed for the ship. You have ideas about her, but the identity of a widow is actually very suitable for her, and you may have a chance to get it. Nanguang Yiren looked at Zhuang Zuanji walking in front and said. Yiren, who are we going to see? The young man did not continue to speak, but spoke. Su Chen, the young leader of the Qinglong Society, these ancient books are for him, Nanguang Yiren said. While speaking, his expression began to change, and his eyes became tender, which was completely different from the situation when he spoke before. The young man next to him looked a little dull. He followed him to the ship. But his figure was stopped by Yuan Suan. He was dressed in white, a gentleman, and he exuded the aura of a child from a noble family. Nanguang Yiren saw Yuan Suan's eyes become bright. Who are you? Yuan Suan said. You are Su Chen, the young leader of the Qinglong Society, the young man next to Nanguang Yiren spoke. You are looking for Xiaolong Shou? Yuan Suan's eyes condensed and he spoke. I am Nanguang Yiren. This is the ancient book that my sister asked me to bring. I wonder who you are. Nanguang Yiren heard that Yuan Suan was not Su Chen, and her expression did not change. Yuan Suan's temperament attracted her very much. I am Yuan Suan, the steward of Xiaolong Shou. Xiaolong Shou will go out soon. You can just give me the things. When Yuan Suan spoke, he gently grabbed the boxes in the hands of the maids and put them into the ship. He did not intend to let them see Su Chen. Su Chen was going to visit Zhuang Zuanji's father, Zhuang Mingfen, the owner of the third largest bank in the world, today. You are just a steward, how dare you be so presumptuous? Hearing that Yuan Suan was just a steward, the young man in green robe had a cold look in his eyes. A sound wave came out of his mouth, and the sound wave gathered into a sharp sword and went towards Yuan Suan. Just now, he observed Nanguang Yiren and found that Nanguang Yiren obviously had a good impression of this kid. And the other party was just a steward, so he wanted to teach this kid a lesson. Yuan Suan's eyes turned cold, and a burst of qi burst out of his body, instantly shattering the sound wave that was impacting, and a surging wave of air swept towards the opponent. Bang! The young man in green robe was directly thrown backwards by the air wave, fell on the lakeside, and spurted out a mouthful of blood. Dare to attack. Yuan Suan did not kill him, which was already polite. Yuan Suan got 30 years of internal strength last night, and now his Danshan has turned into C, and his true energy is terrifying. And he also got a drop of bat blood. Now he can't beat the powerful man in Shanghai, but the opponent can never catch up with him. You are looking for death? Do you know who I am? Kill him for me, the injured young man said sternly. A man in black appeared behind him, and the man appeared and attacked directly. His palm grabbed Yuan Suan's head, and the key on his palm surged like a sharp blade. Yuan Sui's eyes condensed, and he jumped out. He grabbed his waist and the soft sword was unsheathed in an instant. A flash of light appeared, and it pierced through the opponent's palm and throat as fast as lightning. Swish! Blood flowed out, and then a body fell to the ground. Chapter 638, Lord Xianding appears, Kunlun revives, Qinglong Club, Xianaya Pavilion, is in danger. Silence. The scene became silent. At this time, Yuan Suyin had already sheathed his sword. His movements were graceful and his swordsmanship was sharp. He glanced at Nangguang Yiren and said, "Leave your things here, you can go." His voice was cold. Nangguang Yiren's beautiful eyes changed. "I want to pay a visit to the young dragon chief." Although Yuan Suyin surprised her, she came to see Su Chen, so she wanted to meet Su Chen. At this time, Su Chen came down from the building ship. "This is Nangguang Qiushu's twin sister Nangguang Yiren," Zhuang Zuanji, who was next to Su Chen, said. "Miss Nangguang, I have something to go out this time. See you next time if there is a chance." Su Chen had known about the appearance of Nangguang Yiren and the others on the ship. Some news about Nangguang Yiren made Su Chen realize that this woman appeared gentle but had many calculations in her heart. Su Chen did not like people who were two-faced. So he did not plan to have too much contact with the other party. After that, he walked out of the ship with Zhuang Zuanji and entered Zhuang Zuanji's carriage. Yuan Suyin also closed the ship and followed him away. Nangguang Yiren and the young man in blue were left behind. Nangguang Yiren looked at the departing carriage. A light flashed in her beautiful eyes. She walked up to the young man in blue, a look of disgust on her face, and then she got on the carriage and left. Qinglong Society, Su Chen, Yuan Suyin, Li Mushin, will not let you go. The young man had a ferocious look on his face. The young man's name is Li Mushin, and he is the third son of the Li family, the second-ranked family in Jinling City. On the carriage, the young man just now is named Li Mushin. Zhuang Zuanji said. Previously, Zhuang Zuanji compiled a list of the noble families and forces in Jinling City and gave it to Su Chen. When Su Chen heard this name, he should know who it is. Li family, Red Sun Palace, no problem. Now the strength of the Green Dragon Society gives him confidence. At this time in the capital, the residence of Taibao Nian Jinlin. Nian Jinlin looked at Bai Tianyu. "I wonder when I can meet with Deputy Pavilion Master Tai, Deputy Pavilion Master Tai and Deputy Pavilion Master Yaoyu. This time we came here, actually for the Falling God Pearl. What does the Grand Tutor think about this matter?" Bai Tianyu did not mention the Evil League's attack on the Imperial Master, but mentioned Lucian Pearl. Now he was very surprised by the Evil League's siege of the Imperial Master. Imperial Master, the teacher of the current Emperor Zhou. Such a person, the Evil League actually wants to surround and kill the other party. The Great Zhou dynasty has not responded yet, which makes people extremely suspicious. Although the Evil League said that the Emperor Zhou would seek a breakthrough that day and most of the forces would be gathered in the Imperial City, they should also take some action instead of being so calm. That's why they secretly spied on him. Nian Jinlin, the eldest prince's teacher. One of the real backers of the eldest prince's lineage. Previously, Bai Tianyu deliberately approached the Nian mansion in order to maintain stability in the capital. That is, Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower, at that time past that period of weak strength. Falling God Pearl, the most desired thing for the sea, concentrated strong men. If Deputy Pavilion Master Tai gets the Falling God Pearl, he will definitely go one step further. Nian Jinlin seemed to be unaware of it. He only mentioned Lucian Pearl and didn't mention anything else. Hearing this, Bai Tianyu's expression did not change. This time Deputy Pavilion Master Tai is determined to get it. Bai Tianyu said. Only by killing the Imperial Master can one obtain the Goddess of Luo River, which means that Tai's Hongtang will kill the Imperial Master. The Goddess of Luo River is not easy to obtain. If you want to get that thing, you may have to pay the price of your life. Deputy Pavilion Master Tai strong, but there are many strong people in the world. I hope that after the 15th day of the full moon, we will meet with Deputy Pavilion Master Tai. I hope you can convey this sentence to Deputy Pavilion Master Tai. I'm old. I need to sit for a while. My body is not as good as before. I'll rest first, and I won't keep you any longer. After saying this, Nian Jinlin stood up and said that it was time to drive the guests away. Bai Tianyu stood up and said goodbye to Nian Jinlin. Leaving the Nian mansion, Bai Tianyu got on the carriage. Nian Jinlin said, "So, what does it show?" It shows that the Imperial Master is not ordinary in strength, or he is not optimistic about these people dealing with the Imperial Master. Of course, Bai Tianyu knew that the purpose of the Evil Alliance was mainly to deal with Zhenwu Garden, but why the battle between the Imperial Master and Zhenwu Garden would cause turmoil in Zhenwu Garden, He did not understand the relationship at all. And yesterday Murin Qingchen came to ask, as the head of the Xianjian division, she did not know that something would happen on the 15th day of the full moon. The Xianjian division deliberately blocked the news. In addition, Murin Qingchen said that the deputy supervisor of the Xianjian division, who is in charge of the divine guards, had already left the capital. The people of the Xianjian division will not help the imperial master's mansion. What a mystery. Bai Tianyu thought in his heart. Tai's Hongtang will join forces with the evil alliance to destroy the Xianwu garden, but the four great masters of concentration from the Qinglong society will gather together and will definitely surround and kill the imperial master. The Lucian pearl of the evil alliance must be obtained by them. The four great masters of concentration from the sea gathered in the capital. It is impossible that they are just here for a show. What's more, it's not just the Qinglong society. Many powerful killers have already appeared. The imperial master and the strong men of the great Zhou dynasty gathered in the imperial city, so they can't help him and will definitely die. We must find out something useful in the next few days. Bai Tianyu said. Now that the Golden Wind and Rain Tower has expanded, it has developed a lot of spies. The ability to detect is stronger than before, several times stronger. Some information was quickly gathered at the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. He planned to collect these information in the next period of time and combine them with the information obtained from the Evil Alliance. Finally, see if he can get any information. Back to the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. Nalan Rongayan appeared in front of him. Something happened. Tian Dinggong has arrived in Longbai County. 3 people appeared beside him. These 3 people are guests of the Ministry of Personnel. They are suspected to be powerful people who have entered the sea to concentrate their minds, Nalan Rongayan said solemnly. What? Hearing this, Bai Tianyu's face changed. In the previous intelligence, it was only reported that Yuan Dinggong took 1 person to the 9 northern counties. Now there are 3 people around him, and they may all be powerful people who have concentrated their minds in the sea. Is he going to go to war with the Qinglong society? Bai Tianyu said in a deep voice. Not only that, after Tian Dinggong entered the 9 northern counties, he went directly to Qinglong Temple. I have already passed the news to Mr. Zhuge. Nalan Rongayan continued. Are you going to Qinglong Temple? This is really bad news. Pass this news to the young master immediately. Bai Tianyu ordered. Lord Xianding went to the Qinglong Temple, definitely not to worship Buddha, probably to join forces with the Qinglong Temple. Qinglong Temple was originally the dominant force in the 9 northern counties. Although it is closed, there are definitely masters among them. If it joins forces with Lord Xianding, then the current strength of the Qinglong society in the 9 northern counties may not be able to defeat it head-on. It needs the secret help of Guan Yushan in the ancient Santong and Lingjiang areas outside the Great Wall. While he was thinking, a disciple came to Bai Tianyu quickly with a secret letter. Bai Tianyu looked at the mark on the secret letter, his eyes condensed. That was the mark that indicated that he and Murin Qingchen had agreed to contact each other in an extremely urgent manner. He took the secret letter. He opened it to check. Then his face changed. Seeing the change in Bai Tianyu's face, Nalan Rongayan took the secret letter and her face changed drastically. The Kunlun faction outside the Great Wall has revived and is preparing to besiege the stronghold of the East Pavilion of the Xianaya Pavilion in Xianshan. Spread the news immediately. Bai Tianyu ordered. This news is extremely unfavorable to the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion and Qinglong Club. Chapter 639 Kunlun faction moves, Zhengwo's pressure. Outside the Great Wall, Kunlun sect in the main hall, the headmaster Yuan Zuzi, wearing a purple robe, has a white face and looks about 40 years old, but his actual age is definitely older. Yuan Zuzi became the headmaster earlier than Home Yufeng of Xianshan sect. However, he was not as strong as Home Yufeng. After being defeated by Home Yufeng, Kunlun sect closed the mountain. Behind him, there were 3 old men. One of the old men had white hair and beard and looked very old. One of the other 2 had a pale face and seemed to be injured. The other one had black hair and black beard, a burly figure, and a gleam of light in his eyes. These 3 people are the 3 elders of Kunlun sect. The white-haired and white-bearded old man in the lead is named Jiu Yixing. The second elder is Yue with black hair and black beard, a burly figure, and the third elder is pale and looks injured, named Hideoshen. The strength of these 4 people is concentrated in the sea. In terms of overall strength, Kunlun sect is much stronger than the previous Xiantian sect, but back then, the first and second elders of Kunlun sect were seriously injured by the people behind Hou Feng, and the leader Yuan Zuzi was no match for Hou Feng, so they were forced to close the mountain. However, the first and second elders have recovered from their injuries, and their strength has been further improved. It can be said that Kunlun sect is very powerful now. Of course, in addition to these 4 people, there are 2 more people in the palace. One is wearing a black robe, with gray hair and deep eyes, and the other is a middle-aged man with a white face and a cold expression. Being able to be in the hall with Yuan Zuzi and the other 4. There is no need to think about the strength of these 2 people. They must be concentrating in the sea. They are masters invited by Kunlun sect brother Yuan Xu. You are a little too concerned about this, Xianaya Pavilion. From the information we have received, this Xianaya Pavilion currently only has the strength of Pavilion Master Gu Santong and Deputy Pavilion Master Zhu Wuxi concentrating in the sea. Even if Elder he is injured, with the strength of the 5 of us, we are fully capable of crushing the opponent, the man with a stern expression said in a deep voice. Brother Su, you can't underestimate the other party. I know Hou Feng's strength. Back then, my divine power was completely suppressed by the other party and I was no match for him. They can kill Hou Feng, so they must be stronger than me. The record of Zhu Wuxi is unknown, but some news came from the capital. Tais Hongtang, the deputy pavilion master of the North Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion, killed 3 sea concentrated masters by himself. His divine power is so strong, the deputy pavilion master of the South Pavilion, Yaoyu, was able to fight Qin Juan of Zhenwu Garden. His divine power must be extraordinary, so you can't underestimate the pavilion master and deputy pavilion master of the East Pavilion. Since we are going to take action, we must strike. Destroy the opponent and don't give him a chance to counterattack, Yuan Zuzi said in a deep voice. Yes, we can't underestimate the opponent, Yuan Su. There is no time to lose. Since we have chosen to take action, we must act quickly and don't give the opponent a chance to explore. Once the opponent's support arrives, we may not be able to defeat him. The old man in black robe and white hair said in a deep voice. Lingjiang area Guan Yushan, the general envoy of Xianaya Pavilion, took down the Xiangxia League. Although it was rumored that Bu Yongxiao was assassinated by Feng Langzhou and the King Longhu killers. But Guan Yushan was able to kill Feng Langzhou and suppress the old members of Xiangxia League, which shows his strong strength. If they get the news and support here, I am afraid they will not be sure of winning. So they need to act immediately and not give the other party time to arrive. Let's do it today. The 5 of us will surround and kill Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi, and Elder he will be injured and surround and kill other members of Xianaya Pavilion, Yuan Zuzi said. As the headmaster, once he decides to move, he will not retreat. After that, the 6 people started to move. Then the entire Kunlun sect followed suit. There were 2 groups of people in total. One group was Yuan Zuzi and 6 people, and 2 Danshan Huahe strongmen. The other group was the ordinary 4 Shinran Jiunan, who took other disciples of Kunlun sect to go out. At this time, Lingnan County Shan Gate. Zhuge Zhengwo looked at the returned secret letter with a solemn look. The Kunlun sect has come out and is going to attack the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion. The battle outside the Great Wall is about to break out. Mr. Xianding brought people into the Qinglong Temple? The motives and specific conversations must be investigated. Zhuge Zhengwo looked at the secret letter and said in a deep voice. These news have just come. Although it is quite shocking. But Zhuge Zhengwo is very calm. The more things he encounters, the calmer he should be. His palms pressed on the table. He thought about it. Xiantian outside the Great Wall. He could only send a message immediately to inform Zhu Wuxi and others. Everything still needs Gu Santong and others to face the Kunlun sect by themselves, this time of siege. Because according to the time when the news came, the other party was ready. It would not give them time to mobilize manpower to support. Of course, the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion is not weak now. The strength of Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi is absolutely strong in the sea. Gu Santong practiced a Vajra indestructible, and Zhu Wuxi practiced the absorbing power Defa. Neither of them is afraid of siege. There is also Guan Qi. He doesn't know the specific situation, but Guan Qi reached a breakthrough point of divine power some time ago. Even if he hasn't broken through now, Guan Qi will definitely break through after a battle. Once Guan Qi breaks through to the sea of concentration, it will definitely not be an ordinary sea of concentration. With such strength, even if he can't win, It won't be a problem to take people away. His focus now is Tian Dinguang, who came to the 9 northern counties this time. Tian Dinguang is one of the giants of the Ministry of Personnel of the Great Zhou dynasty. He came with 3 Sea of Concentration masters. This already shows that he wants to deal with them, Qinglong society, otherwise why bring so many masters here? Not to mention that they went to Qinglong Temple. Now, Qinglong Temple not only has Tian Dinguang, but also people from Dashan Temple. If you are not careful, these 3 parties may join forces. At that time, the pressure on Qinglong society will be great. It seems that we have to find a way to contact Wu He. Zhu Zhangwo said in a deep voice. Wu He is extremely talented in Buddhism. When Su Chen left Shanmen, he had already comprehended some of the essence of the Great Sutra of Life and Death, and left Shanmen and went to Qinglong Temple. Of course, Wu He is now just a guest monk in Qinglong Temple. Although he is a guest monk, his talent in Buddhism makes the monks of Qinglong Temple admire Wu He very much. There is a vague intention to let Wu He join Qinglong Temple. But monk Wu He has not agreed yet. But Wu He is in Qinglong Temple, so he must be able to find out some of the conversations. After thinking for a while, Zhu Zhangwo called a Fei. A Fei is a character who appeared with Jing Wuming. But Jing Wuming and Shangwen Jinhuang went to the capital, while a Fei stayed in Shan to practice. Now a Fei's strength has also reached the 6 difficulties of heaven and man, and his speed is a little slower than Jing Wuming. Go and contact Wu He secretly to see if you can find out what Xian Dinggong talked about with Qinglong Temple, and what the masters in Qinglong Temple are doing, Zhu Zhangwo said to A Fei. Yes, after A Fei received the order, he quickly left Shan Gate and went to Qinglong Temple. After A Fei left, Zhu Zhangwo went to the back mountain to meet Yidi and Ruhao, because Shan Gate might become the target of the other party's attack. He needed to know their specific strength. Chapter 640, Xian'ai Pavilion, East Pavilion, encountered siege. Xian'an, Xian'ai Pavilion, East Pavilion. In a courtyard, Gu Santong looked at Cheng Shifei who was slacking off in the courtyard, frowning. He had been here for so long, thinking about improving this kid's strength. But this kid couldn't stand hardship and was lazy all day. In his previous life, Cheng Shifei became a master after receiving his own skills and practicing the unique skills of the 8 major sects. But in this world, although he mastered the unique skills of the 8 major sects and his Vajra indestructible divine skill, he did not get his skills, so his strength was a little weak. During this period, he was under the care, and his strength improved a little, but it was still too slow. Cheng Shifei is his and Susan's son. Zhu Wuxi has no children, so he regards Cheng Shifei as his own son. There are many treasures in Xian'an, and Zhu Wuxi gave him a lot of them. To improve his strength, he mainly needs treasures. I have to talk to Lao Zhu when I have time. I can't spoil him, Gu Santong said in his heart. In this world, the grudges between the two have been resolved. They were friends back then. It's just that Zhu Wuxi was too ambitious back then, thinking about seeking power and usurping the throne. Now in this world, he no longer has the ambition for imperial power, because this world is dominated by martial arts. More emphasis is placed on martial arts practice. When he thought of Zhu Wuxi, a Zhu Wuxi in a brocade robe appeared in the courtyard. Seeing Zhu Wuxi, Cheng Shifei, who was sneaking around in the courtyard, immediately stepped forward. Godfather, my father, forcing me to practice again, it's so boring. This is some Xian'an snow lotus pills that I just refined by reading the Xian'an sex classics. It can help you improve your internal strength. Zhu Wuxi looked at Cheng Shifei and took out a bottle of pills from his arms. Old Gu, you don't need to make Shifei practice so hard. His personality doesn't like to practice quietly. Forcing him may sometimes be useless. What's more, he has your Vajra indestructible divine art, plus the unique skills of the 8 major sects, and has already mastered it. As long as he improves his internal strength, he can do it. There's no need to worry about the foundation. Zhu Wuxi looked at Gu Santong. You just pamper this kid, now the master has many strong men under his command. I got the news that Guan Yushin's strength is at a broken level. Although he can't use all his strength, he may be able to suppress you and me. Gu Santong's eyes flashed when he spoke. Gu Santong is a martial arts fanatic. What he meant by saying this is that he wants to fight with Guan Yushin and see the strength of the broken level strong. Not only Guan Yushin, Tai's Hongtang of the North Pavilion killed 3 people in the Sea of Concentration in the capital, and his divine power overwhelmed the Zhenwu Garden. My Xianaya Pavilion, East Pavilion, the momentum, but it was overshadowed by others, Zhu Wuxi said. Gu Santong was concerned about the other party's martial arts. Zhu Wuxi was concerned about the status of the East Pavilion. Although the East Pavilion settled outside the Great Wall, it could not be limited to the outside of the Great Wall. You will do these things. Did Xianaya go to the capital? After this time, you let him bring Liu Shangpiaoxu and his daughter back to our East Pavilion. Won't the strength of the East Pavilion increase? Gu Santong said. Yajiyu Tajima no Kami, I'm afraid that he may not be able to come to our East Pavilion, but I'm going to write a letter to the master, asking them to assign these two people to our East Pavilion, Zhu Wuxi said. How about Gui Hai Yidao and Guanqi? Gui Hai Yidao is breaking through the Danshan transformation sea today, and Guanqi's own divine power is condensing. I don't know to what extent it has reached, but Haideng has detected some movements from the Kunlun sect. I'm afraid they will attack us, Zhu Wuxi said in a deep voice. Attacking us, isn't that what you want? Although Hou Feng's power was not absorbed by you, the power of another sea concentrating strongman from the Xianshan sect was absorbed by you. Now I may not be your opponent. If the Kunlun sect comes to attack, it can make you stronger. I really hope they will attack, Gu Santong said. That's right, Zhu Wuxi smiled when he heard it. At this time, Shangwen Haidang, dressed in white, rushed into the courtyard. Two pavilion masters, there is something unusual happening in Kunlun sect. After hearing the news, all the masters in the sect left and came towards us, Shangwen Haidang said. I didn't expect that they would really start a fight. Zhu Wuxi's face changed. Although they had spoken very simply before, once they started to fight, the newly built East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion would suffer losses. Let's go. Let's go to the main hall and meet them. I think some people should have arrived, Gu Santong. The four people left quickly. When they came to the main hall of the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion, 5 figures fell from the sky and blocked their way. Gu Santong, the pavilion master of the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion, and Zhu Wuxi, the deputy pavilion master, the leader Yuan Zuzi looked at Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi and said. As for Shangwen Haidang and Cheng Shifei behind them, he didn't pay attention. You go help others, Zhu Wuxi sent a message to Cheng Shifei and Shangwen Haidang. After hearing this, the two did not dare to stay and turned to leave. These people are very powerful. If they are not careful, they will die in the hands of the other party. Yuan Zuzi, Gu Santong did not speak, but Zhu Wuxi said, you Kunlun sect just came into being, and you do this. I'm afraid that after today, the 1,000-year foundation will be destroyed. Deputy Pavilion Master Zhu, the two of you can still be so natural in the face of our 5C concentrated masters. I really admire you, Yuan Zuzi said calmly. Because Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi were too calm, he was more cautious. Now they stopped Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi. And Idao Shen, one of the 3 elders, has brought 2 Danshan Hua realm masters. Go to the backyard. As long as there is a massacre in the backyard, I believe the other party will be more anxious than them. At this time, in a secret room in the backyard, Gui Haidao's aura was surging, and his blood and ki began to violently riot. A stream of terrifying energy continued to pour into his Danshan. Under the action of this force, power continued to burst out from his Danshan, gradually forming a huge vortex. The vortex appeared and expanded, causing the ki to flow, grow, and surge. Danshan changes at a speed visible to the naked eye. As long as this state and speed continue, he will be able to step into Danshan transformation C. At this time, outside the secret room where he is, a scream was heard. And then a figure flew to the ground, with a hot palm print on his chest. A man in a green robe stepped into the courtyard. Before coming, just after entering the backyard, he caught a disciple of the East Pavilion, the disciple who was just killed by him with a palm. Knowing that someone was in seclusion here, and the other party's identity was not simple, he came to kill Gui Haidao in person. This person's name is Su Chu, a strong man of the Kunlun sect who has transformed Danshan into the sea. He and another strong man of the Danshan transformation sea followed the 3rd elder to attack and kill first, and some other masters of the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion. Looking at the stone door of the secret room in front of him, his eyes turned cold and he punched out. Boom! The terrifying fist force burst out from his fist. Bang! The stone door was instantly shattered. At the moment of shattering, A figure with unstable breath rushed out from the stone gate. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 641 Send you on your way, Gui Hai Yi Dao, Guanqi, the innate invisible sword energy. The unstable breath was Gui Hai Yi Dao. Gui Hai Yi Dao was just attacking the Danshan transformation sea, and at the moment of breakthrough, a burst of ki hit the stone gate. So although he stepped into the Danshan transformation sea, his breath seemed a little unstable. He looked at Su Shan, who was wearing green clothes in the courtyard. Just broke through the Danshan transformation sea? It's a pity that you will die today. Looking at Gui Hai Yi Dao who appeared, Su Shan said with a cold expression. He just broke through the Danshan transformation sea, and his ki and blood were still unstable, so he didn't care at all. Who are you? Gui Hai Yi Dao looked at the other party with an unchanged expression. Although the other party was Danshan transformation sea, he could kill. But this is the East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion, why can the other party come in and attack so unscrupulously? Let you be a ghost. Kunlun sect Su Shan, kill you today. Su Shan spoke and moved his body, punched out, and a hot power ki appeared on his fist, heading towards Gui Hai Yi Dao. Gui Hai Yi Dao's eyes condensed. He slashed with a long sword in his hand. The hot energy that rushed in was cut off by a knife. The cut energy spread out in all directions and disappeared. Seeing this, Su Shan's eyes condensed. He didn't expect Gui Hai Yi Dao to cut off his fist energy so easily. If you only have this much strength, then I will kill you with one knife. When he was surprised, Gui Hai Yi Dao's voice rang in his ears. What? Su Shan's face showed a furious look, but at this time, Gui Hai Yi Dao's figure disappeared in front of him. It was so fast. It appeared behind him in the blink of an eye. Sensing the breath behind him, Su Shan backhanded a palm and slapped behind him, and at the same time, his footsteps burst out with power and rushed towards Gui Hai Yi Dao. The red blood flaming yang energy flowed in his body, and the blood-red flame energy burst out from his palm. Su Shan had put away his contempt at this moment. He burst out with all his strength, and he wanted to kill Gui Hai Yi Dao with one palm. Behind him, Gui Hai Yi Dao's expression did not change. With this little strength, you dare to kill me? Send you on your way, Gui Hai Yi Dao said coldly. As he spoke, the ki in his body burst out, and the long sword he held burst out with a terrifying ki. He slashed with his sword, and the sword ki collided with the fist ki, making a rumbling sound. But when this rumbling sound broke out, Gui Hai Yi Dao's figure shut out and turned into a residual image. He appeared in front of the opponent and slashed with a long sword in an instant. After the flash of the sword, Su Shan's body was split into two, and blood spurted out. Gui Hai Yi Dao did not stop and turned around. The reason why he did not entangle with the opponent and tried his best to kill the opponent was that he was worried about Shangwen Heidang's safety. In the last life, he failed to protect Shangwen Heidang. In this life, he would not allow Shangwen Heidang to be in any danger. When he stepped out of the courtyard, Shangwen Heidang and Shang Shifei had already arrived. They were also worried about Gui Hai Yi Dao's safety. Heidang, are you okay? I'm fine. The Kunlun faction attacked us, Xian'ai Pavilion. The pavilion master and his men have been blocked. 5C concentrated masters stopped them. We were afraid that you were in danger, so we came here immediately. I just broke through, and my aura hasn't stabilized yet, and the other party appeared, but I killed him. There should be others. Let's go to Mr. Guanqi first. I have someone here, and there should be someone on Mr. Guanqi's side, Gui Hai said with a knife. Although the East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion occupies Xianshan, there are not many real Xian'ai Pavilion people among them. The others are the Ghost Domain people who were gathered earlier. Du Wudi and his men are stationed in the Ghost Domain, so apart from them, only Guanqi is a real Xian'ai Pavilion person. The three of them are going to meet Guanqi before helping other disciples. At this time, Guanqi is in seclusion. Two figures appear. Su Shan goes to deal with the other person, and He Dao Sheng and another person come to deal with the Guan Shan. Because they knew it from the captured disciples of Xian'ai Pavilion. This retreat time is a bit long. So Hideo Sheng and another person came. Third elder, this Shianya pavilion seems a bit empty. There are no masters, a person next to Hideo Sheng said. This person was wearing a tight suit, his palms were broad and powerful, his body was strong and powerful, and his exposed muscles had blood-red lines, and he exuded a terrifying evil spirit. There was some disdain in his eyes. The rumors outside Shianya pavilion were not simple, but when they entered the East pavilion, they found that there were no masters. Don't be careless, this is not Shianya pavilion. The East Pavilion headquarters is occupied by the Shianshan sect, and the power has not been transferred. If it is transferred, we may not be able to take them down, Hideo Sheng said. He was pale and his injuries had not healed completely. While speaking, the big man in tight clothes punched out with a punch, directly cracking the secret room. Although he was disdainful, he was extremely cautious. The stone door was blasted. But there was silence. It seemed as if there was no one in the secret room. The strong man in tight clothes focused his eyes and sensed the breath inside, but he found nothing. He looked at the third elder Hideo Sheng. Hideo Sheng's eyes lit up and he said, the person inside should be trying to break through, restraining his breath, and concentrating his mind. The other party is concentrating his divine power and wants to step into the sea to concentrate. Hearing this, a cold light flashed in the eyes of the strong man, and he stopped and immediately accelerated his pace. Concentrating his divine power, trying to break through. He would not let the other party have the opportunity to step into the sea to concentrate. When he entered the secret room, a burly body was sitting in it. The other party had a rough face, a burly figure, and exposed muscles like bronze. The aura around him did not leak out, but circulated in his body. His eyes were forcing, as if he was feeling it. When the strong man looked at the other party suddenly closed his eyes. There was a terrifying sword energy flashing in his eyes, and a terrifying evil spirit burst out of his body. This evil spirit suppressed the evil spirit emanating from the strong man. The moment he opened his eyes, the strong man was affected. He seemed to see a monster with terrifying power accumulated in his body. Who are you? Disturbing my concentration of divine power, Guan Qi looked at him calmly, his tone was extremely calm. Concentrating divine power, you won't have a chance. Today is your death. Although the strong man was affected, he was a Danshan Huahe strong man after all, and he was followed by the third elder, so he didn't need to be afraid of him. Die, extreme evil blood Juan fist. As he spoke, a terrifying blood evil power burst out from the strong man, and his footsteps instantly exerted force. Bang! A huge explosion sounded under his feet, and his figure shot out violently, appearing in front of Guan Qi, and his fist hit Guan Qi's face heavily. The huge blood evil power instantly exploded the airflow, and countless air was squeezed under his blood evil fist to form a stronger power fluctuation. Blood was everywhere. Facing this blow, Guan Qi stood up suddenly, and the innate invisible sword energy in his body instantly condensed on his fist. He punched out. The sword energy that burst out from the fist was fierce, violently shattering the opponent's ki, and punched the opponent's chest. Bang! In this terrifying force, the body of the strong man was blown away, flying backwards like a cannonball. Flying out of the secret room door. Landing on the ground. Outside the secret room, Hideo Sheng's eyes condensed. He wanted to see the injury of the strong man. Bang! The opponent's chest exploded, and invisible sword energy burst out, shattering his internal organs. Just after punching, Guan Qi injected the innate invisible sword energy into the opponent's body. Because Guan Qi noticed that there was another person outside. Although the man's breath was unstable, he was definitely a strong man with a concentrated mind in the sea. Chapter 642, The Invisible Power of the Gods, Guan Qi's Cruelty. Looking at the strong man in the suit who died violently in front of him, Hideo Sheng's eyes became extremely ugly. He looked at Guan Qi. Although the opponent did not condense the divine power and step into the sea to concentrate, he easily killed a strong man from Kunlun sect who had his Danshan turned into the sea. His strength should not be underestimated. Of course, what surprised him was that the opponent stopped the condensation of his divine power without hesitation. You know, if a warrior fails to condense the divine power for the first time, it is not so easy to condense the divine power again. But this Guan Qi actually interrupted the condensation of the divine power without hesitation. Killing. Guan Qi, when you first entered the frontier, you haven't stepped into the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, but now you are attacking the sea to concentrate the spirit. It's amazing that your foundation is still so solid. Hideo Sheng couldn't help coughing when he spoke. Some time ago, he was injured by someone and has not fully recovered yet. The person who severely injured him and attacked him left with one blow. Although his strength was not as good as the concentration in the sea, his attack was extremely fast. He was careless and was attacked by the opponent. He always thought it was someone from Shianaya Pavilion. But when he entered the backyard of Shianaya Pavilion, he did not find any trace of that person. His heart darkened. Thinking back, someone had contacted their Kunlun sect before to deal with Shianaya Pavilion. But they had just come out, and the strength of Shianaya Pavilion was not clear, so they did not move. And the other party did not urge them again, as if they had disappeared. But not long after, he was seriously injured by a sneak attack, and the momentum of Shianaya Pavilion outside was getting bigger and bigger. They sensed the danger. Kunlun was the first force outside the Great Wall back then. Although it was defeated by Home Yufeng of Xiantian sect, if there was no help from Home Yufeng behind him. Xiantian sect was not the opponent of their Kunlun sect at all. Xiantian sect was occupied by the East Pavilion of Shianaya Pavilion, and Kunlun sect came out. Of course, the strength of Shianaya Pavilion was not that strong at that time, so they did not sense the threat. Now Shianaya Pavilion is so powerful that it will never allow Kunlun sect to exist. How can others sleep beside the bed? So they had to take action. Destroy the East Pavilion of Shianaya Pavilion, and then find allies to confront Shianaya Pavilion. Get rid of these ideas. He wanted to kill Guan Qi first. Although he was injured, he was still a strong man in the sea. Guan Qi could be said to be a strong man in the Sea of Danshan, but under the suppression of his divine power, he was still not his opponent. Boom! Hideo Sheng's eyes were cold. A thick and cold energy burst out from his body, and then a black shadow emerged behind him. Divine power, 9 eagle claws. Hideo Sheng shouted, and when the breath on his body burst out, his body flew into the air, raised his palm, and grabbed Guan Qi's head. The terrifying power of divine power hit Guan Qi's mind. Not only was his mind impacted, but there was also an extremely terrifying force pressing on his body. This was to make Guan Qi's spirit and body completely shattered. Roar! Faced with this pressure, Guan Qi roared, barely dispersing the pressure of the other party's mind. But the endless innate sword energy that burst out from his body was suppressed by the other party's energy. And the other party's palm fell and moved his feet. But he was still a step too slow. The opponent's ki fell, and a terrifying blood mark appeared on his bronze chest, and blood flowed out. I didn't expect you to break through my divine power suppression. It seems that the concentration of divine power has increased your mind a lot. Hideo Sheng didn't kill Guan Qi with one blow, and his eyes were slightly surprised. But while speaking, his figure quickly came out and turned into a residual image. Appeared in front of Guan Qi. He slapped his palm and the red cold true energy exploded in his palm. The speed was so fast. Guan Qi, who was in pain, turned red. The sword energy on his body surged and punched out. The two palms collided, and Guan Qi just wanted to explode, but the opponent's divine power appeared again, and the palm slapped out. Bang! The whole person was shocked by this terrifying force and flew backwards, hitting the rock of the secret room behind him. Pucci spurted out a mouthful of blood. But the body stood up, staring at Hideo Sheng fiercely. Not dead yet. Hideo Sheng's eyes condensed, and his eyes became cold. Kill, then continue to kill. He didn't believe that the opponent could survive his next attack. His body shape changed, and he slapped out again, and the power of divine power continued to burst out and hide Guan Qi's mind. Roar! This time Guan Qi roared, and this roar was earth-shaking. When the roar broke out, the energy in his body also surged. In conjunction with the roar increased its strength. The huge roar formed a sound wave, which actually blocked Hideo Sheng's divine power for a while. Although Guan Qi had just been hit, he had been concentrating his mind. Previously, he was disturbed when he was concentrating his divine power, so he gave up. At this moment, under the suppression of the opponent's divine power, his divine power condensed faster. After the roar, his divine power, invisible, was initially completed. He practiced the innate invisible sword energy. The sword energy is not invisible, but just a form of silent explosion. In conjunction with his fists and feet, it will burst out with more terrifying power. The divine power was blocked by the opponent's roar. Hideo Sheng's face was furious, and the ki in his body burst out even more terrifyingly, and he attacked again. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Guanqi in the blink of an eye. "This palm will send you to death." Boom. His palm slapped out with a fierce momentum, and the violent true energy burst out from his palm. But at this time, Guanqi's divine power did not show, but he activated it invisibly, and a fierce breath burst out from his body. Under the urging of the sword energy, it became even more violent and fierce. "I have been beaten by you for so long, and it's time for me to let you know my strength." Guanqi's body moved instantly, and the innate invisible sword energy in his body burst out from his body to the outside, like a tide, gathering on his palm. Then he stepped forward, his body instantly flew into the air, clenched his palm, and punched out. Boom. There was a shocking explosion, and the whole ground trembled at this moment. A violent force burst out from the place where their fists collided. Bang! Hideo Sheng's figure was shaken back several steps. Guanqi's figure was also shaken back several steps. But at this moment, Guanqi's eyes were blazing, and he didn't stop at all. "Your strength is just like this. I will beat you to death today." As he spoke, Guanqi rushed to the other party, laughing wildly, and punched out with a fast speed and fierce punch. "You?" Hideo Sheng growled. He didn't expect Guanqi to block his attack and now attack him. His eyes became cold and murderous. Goshawk bursting palm. With a low roar, the true energy in his palm turned into a huge goshawk and went towards Guanqi. Boom! The two bodies collided with each other. The two retreated, puffed, and both sides spit out blood. But Guanqi's aura became more violent than before, and he continued to attack, not giving Hideo Sheng a chance to recover. "Madman," Hideo Sheng growled, but then his eyes changed. Because Guanqi had a divine power, this divine power was weak, but it did appear. Die? Guanqi ignored the opponent's surprise and continued to attack. The invisible sword energy on his body continued to burst out, destroying the opponent's energy. Finally, he approached the opponent and suddenly picked him up with both hands. The innate invisible sword energy in his body burst out and rushed into the opponent's body. "Ah!" Hideo Sheng screamed, and his chest was pierced by the innate invisible sword body. Blood flowed. When he screamed, Guanqi's palm turned into a claw and grabbed the opponent's neck. Crack, brutally twisting the opponent's head off. Chapter 643, Divine Power, Blood Sword Naruto, Divine Power, Vajra Indestructible. The courtyard was filled with a bloody smell, and Guanqi's body was unstable. He had just been seriously injured in the battle and sat cross-legged on the ground. The golden plum bottle appeared in his hand. A stream of energy entered Guanqi's body and repaired Guanqi's injuries. After a moment, Guanqi's expression condensed. This time, recovering from his injuries actually consumed more than half of the energy of the golden plum bottle. It seems that my strength is improving, and the energy consumed will increase. In the future, I can't rely on this method completely, Guanqi pondered in his heart. At this time, three figures appeared in the courtyard. It was Chang Shifei, Shangguan Heideng and Gui Hideo. Looking at the two corpses on the ground, the expressions of the three changed. "I'm fine. I have successfully condensed my divine power and stepped into the sea to concentrate." Who is the other party? Although Guanqi fought with the other party, he didn't know who the other party was. Taijuan and Hideo Sheng from Kunlun sect attacked our East Pavilion. The Pavilion Master and Deputy Pavilion Master were stopped by 5C concentrated masters. Shangguan Heideng had been investigating the situation of Kunlun sect, so she knew the identities of these two people. Kunlun sect, I didn't expect them to move first. The Pavilion Master and Deputy Pavilion Master are very powerful. They don't need our help. Let's clean up the others first. Guanqi stood up. The opponent's attack will definitely not only come with these people. At this time, it is probably the biggest crisis that the East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion has encountered. Outside Xianshan, 4 men wearing Kunlun sect robes were followed by hundreds of Kunlun sect disciples. The headmaster and his men should have delayed Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi. Kill them. The East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion will be destroyed today, the 4 leading men shouted in a low voice. Then they rushed into the mountain. Who dares to trespass into my Xian'ai Pavilion? The disciple who was guarding the mountain shouted in surprise. Puff, bang. This disciple's mouth was filled with blood. His chest was hit by a palm from the opponent, and he flew backwards. The other disciples saw this and their faces changed. Instantly, a signal was sent. Enemy attack. We are no match for them. Retreat. The other disciples of Xian'ai Pavilion quickly retreated behind them. However, their speed was obviously not enough. The four people who attacked turned into afterimages and appeared in front of these disciples. The shadows of their palms changed. Bang! 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 The fleeing people were all hit and flew backwards. At this moment, the other disciples of Xian'ai Pavilion had already known the situation. At one time, the sound of bells rang out, and some disciples of Xian'ai Pavilion appeared and attacked the opponent together. Although they were defeated, they still fought. Outside the hall, Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi heard the sound of bells, and their faces became gloomy. Kunlun sect is advancing in a big way. It seems that you, Kunlun sect, have sent out a lot of people, Gu Santong said coldly while looking at Yuan Zuzi. Since you are going to attack, don't hold back. I just don't know if you don't have many middle-level masters in the East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion, Yuan Zuzi said in a calm tone. His words were not just words, but also a test. Wanting to test some of the conditions of the East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion. After Xian'ai Pavilion occupied Xianshan, only some masters appeared. He wanted to know something from Gu Santong's words. Humph, Gu Santong just snorted coldly. His body stepped out, boom. The terrifying power burst out from his body, and his body began to change under this energy. The true energy in his body was agitated, and a violent true energy swept towards several people crazily. Seeing this, Yuan Zuzi and the other five were shocked. He didn't expect that Gu Santong would attack first. He looked at the old man with the black robe and white hair beside him. Let me experience the strength of the East Pavilion master of Xian'ai Pavilion. The old man stepped out, and a brilliant light emanated from his cold eyes. Xian'ai Pavilion. The battle record of the East Pavilion master Gu Santong was to fight against the Xianshan sect's headmaster Home Yufeng. The two fought in a tie in the first fight. The specific skills are rarely spread outside, and only know that the opponent has divine power and is covered by a golden body. The power is unknown. Although they don't know Gu Santong's strength, they have compared Home Yufeng. Home Yufeng's strength was stronger than Yuan Zuzi back then. But he was defeated by Emperor Zhou that year. Even if his strength recovered and returned to the peak, he could only defeat Yuan Zuzi at most. His strength is slightly stronger than Yuan Zuzi. He can fight Gu Santong. Of course, today is not a challenge in the martial arts world, but a fight between forces. They surrounded Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi. When he stepped on the ground, the cold-looking man beside him moved his feet, and a blood-red light appeared on his body. His hair also turned red under this true energy, which was particularly dazzling. There was a cold light in his eyes, staring at Gu Santong closely, with one hand on his waist, which was the hilt of a soft sword. Are you two the only ones going to attack? I think you can attack together. Sensing that he was locked by the aura, Gu Santong's expression did not change at all, but he spoke wildly. Hearing Gu Santong's words, the two people's expressions became cold and fierce. Gu Santong actually looked down on them. Looking for death? Tian Xiao Long Yin, the white-haired old man in black robe roared, and a terrifying airwave came out of his mouth, forming an airwave towards Gu Santong. In this airwave, there was also some spiritual power mixed in, like a sharp blade, attacking Gu Santong's mind. And just when this roar appeared, the man surnamed Su grasped his hands at his waist. Swish! A blood-colored soft sword appeared in his hand. Gu Santong, the one who kills you is Su Shang, the cold man shouted in a low voice, and then attacked instantly. Swish! The afterimage was in place, and the body had already flown into the air, and a sword was slashed out. Divine power, blood sword Naruto. Su Shang, who made the move, knew Gu Santong's strength, so he made the move with divine power. Suddenly, the sword light was like a meteor, emitting a dazzling blood-red light, and slashed towards Gu Santong. Combined with the sonic attack of the white-haired old man, he believed that Gu Santong had no chance of survival. Divine power, indestructible. Just when the long sword slashed in front of Gu Santong shouted in a low voice, and a dazzling golden light emanated from his body. The sharp sword energy like a meteor slashed on the opponent's body. A crisp sound of metal was heard. Not good. The face of the man who made the move changed drastically. He did not expect that his sword could not break the opponent's defense. He had a bad premonition and retreated rapidly. It was so fast to come and go. Want to leave? Is it that easy? While Gu Santong was speaking, he opened his big mouth and took a deep breath. All the air around him rushed into his mouth. Then he let out a low roar. The horrifying airwave instantly erupted, like a violent storm, sweeping towards Su Shuang, who had made the move. Not good. Su Shuang, who was retreating, changed his expression. A horrifying bloody aura appeared on his body and poured into the blood-colored sword in his hand. When he slashed with his sword, he had to cut the airwave first. The sword energy collided with the airwave, forming a horrifying recoil force, and his whole body was shaken back by this force. He fell to the ground, and took several steps back before he stabilized himself. His face looked extremely ugly. He failed to kill the other party with one blow, and was even repelled by the other party's roar. With your little strength, you want to surround and kill me? Let me show you how strong I, Gu Santong, am? Gu Santong laughed wildly, and rushed out violently. In an instant, he appeared in front of the white-haired old man. His fist was golden, and he fiercely slammed towards the other's head. Chapter 644, 1 verses 4, 7 Shadows and 7 Injuries. Arrogant, the white-haired old man's eyes turned cold, and he shouted in a low voice, but his body moved, trying to avoid Gu Santong's attack. But when he moved, he felt that his surroundings were actually covered by the opponent's fist, forming a heavy pressure. This did not give him a chance to move. Seeing that the golden fist was about to fall on his head. Divine power, phantom of the virtual whale, as he shouted in a low voice, a terrifying giant whale appeared above his head, twisting its body and bombarding Gu Santong's fist. The white-haired old man's name is Su Quan. When he condensed the divine power, he saw a giant whale swimming in the sea. Feeling its power, he made a divine power appear in the form of a virtual whale. Of course, the virtual whale is huge, and it takes a lot of true energy to condense it. At that time, Su Quan's true energy in his body could not condense a real giant whale, so he changed his mind and formed a virtual whale phantom. This is a kind of spiritual attack. With the powerful divine power of the giant whale, it impacts the opponent's mind. It can definitely shock the opponent. Bang! Gu Santong's mind was hit. But it was only a delay. Gu Santong had been imprisoned in the dungeon for 20 years. His mentality and mind were so strong that ordinary people could not compare. Of course, the fight between masters was just a matter of seconds. The white-haired old man took this opportunity to escape from Gu Santong's fist. Boom! The huge fist fell on the ground. The gravel on the ground splashed, and the terrifying power formed a tide of air and spread around. It collided with the air to form a ripple. Very good, Gu Santong laughed wildly. These people still have some ability. Seeing Gu Santong's appearance, the faces of the 5 people became gloomy. I didn't expect that the previous attack could not cause any trouble to Gu Santong, and even let the other party counterattack. Boom! At this time, Yimyu Wei, the second elder of Kunlun sect, who was beside Yuan Zuzi, took action. The aura on his body surged, and the terrifying true energy swept out. The true energy was green, forming a huge green giant hand. Divine power, Kunlun sky lifting hand. Yimyu Wei practiced a Kunlun school's unique martial arts, the Xianai Sutra, which contained a sky lifting hand, which was powerful and could suppress everything. Back then, Yimyu Wei relied on this divine power to pacify the entire frontier alone, and his reputation spread to the interior of the country. Together, attack, kill. As he spoke, he rushed out, raised his palm, and a huge amount of true energy condensed in his palm, and suddenly slapped it towards Gu Santong. That's interesting. Looking at the opponent's attacking palm, Gu Santong's originally calm eyes flashed with a gleam of light. The strength of the 2 people before did not make him feel any pressure. Kill! The virtual whale roared. The white-haired old man also moved at this moment, and the virtual whale appeared, condensed on his fist, forming a terrifying true energy storm and heading towards Gu Santong. And there was a faint roar of the virtual whale in the fist. The sound was harsh, affecting people's consciousness. Key power, plus sound waves. He wanted to restrict Gu Santong. Kill! The man surnamed Su's face turned cold. He shot out like a bloody ghost and appeared in front of Gu Santong. His long sword burst into blood. When he slashed with his sword, the blood shook the sky. The 3 of them joined forces and their momentum was very great. Break it for me. Gu Santong's body was shining with golden light. He turned into a huge golden figure. His fists danced and emitted brilliant fist power. He didn't need anything else. He just needed to defeat 10 skills with one force. The terrifying power burst out from his fists. His fists were like golden mountains, colliding with the attacks of the 3 opponents. Bang! 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 After a violent collision, the attacks of the three were all blocked by the golden fists. The three people who were blocked retreated together. They looked at Gu Santong with solemn eyes. They didn't expect that the combined strength of the three of them was easily blocked by Gu Santong. This power is not enough. You two come together. Gu Santong looked at the remaining Yuan Zuzi and others and said wildly. As he spoke, his body shook, and a terrifying qi continued to burst out from his body. The qi continued to flow, as if it was not affected by anything. This is the horror of the Vajra indestructible divine art. Although Gu Santong had fought with Hou Mufeng before, he failed to defeat him, because Hou Mufeng was not weak. Seeing Gu Santong so rampant, Yuan Zuzi's face changed. He looked at the white-haired and white-bearded old man behind him. You go, I'll deal with Zhu Wuxi, the white-haired old man said. His eyes were looking at Zhu Wuxi. Gu Santong's defense exceeded their expectations, so he asked Yuan Zuzi to take action. Do it, Yuan Zuzi shouted. His palms turned into claws, and a qi flowed between his fingers, forming a sharp blade, attacking the vital points around Gu Santong. He wanted his qi to tear Gu Santong's defense apart. Facing Yuan Zuzi's attack, Gu Santong snorted coldly, and the golden light on his body collided. He directly used his body to resist the opponent's palm qi blade. Ding ding ding. The air blade scraped against Gu Santong's body and still made a crisp metallic sound. It couldn't break the opponent's defense at all. Yuan Zuzi's expression remained unchanged. Attacked together, the other three attacked Gu Santong at the same time. Sword light, fist shadow, claw shadow, sound waves and golden light kept colliding. Several figures crossed like lightning, and burst out amazing wind ripples. For a moment, it was impossible to see what was going on inside. You can't break the Pavilion Master's Vajra indestructible divine art at all. You have no chance of winning. Zhu Wuxi looked at the white-haired and white-bearded old man and said. The Vajra indestructible divine art was perfectly displayed on Gu Santong. The defense was invincible. Divine power, 7 shadows and 7 injuries. At this time, Yuan Zuzi shouted in a low voice and slapped out with a palm. The black air energy covered his palm and penetrated a golden light. It was imprinted on Gu Santong's body. The palm slapped out 7 times in a row, and suddenly the 7 air energies were like sound waves, forming vibrations and rushing into Gu Santong's body. Bang! Gu Santong's face changed, and his body was shaken back by this energy. Opportunity, blood sword, explosive kill, the man surnamed Su shouted, and the long sword in his hand burst out a stream of sword energy. The sword energy was dazzling. Blood light rushed to the sky, piercing everything, and appeared in front of Gu Santong. Gu Santong's eyes flashed red. And he did not pay attention to the energy in his body, but raised his palm and grabbed the long sword that was chopped. The long sword was instantly caught in his palm. Then he exerted force and grabbed the other party's body, but did not get close, but punched the other party's body. Bang! The body of the man surnamed Su was shaken and flew backwards, spurting out a mouthful of blood. The direction of flying was exactly the direction of Zhu Wuxi. Zhu Wuxi showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth. His body suddenly moved, so fast that he appeared behind the other party in a blink of an eye, and grabbed his palm. The suction power burst out instantly. The other party's body was caught in his hand. The terrifying suction force burst out instantly. The man surnamed Su showed a look of fear on his face, and the power in his body rushed into Zhu Wuxi's body like a tide. Bang! In a few seconds, the power in his body was completely absorbed by Zhu Wuxi, and then the energy in his palm burst out. With a bang, the cold-looking man Su Shuang turned into a piece of flesh and blood in Zhu Wuxi's palm. Chapter 645, Using the Arm as a Sword, Terrifying Sword Intent. Blood flew everywhere. This was the first time someone was killed in the fight. The one who attacked was still Zhu Wuxi and Gu Santong. At this time, Zhu Wuxi fell to the ground, his long hair was loose, his robes were fluttering, and an extremely domineering aura rose from him. He looked at the old man with white hair and white robes. The old man wanted to move just now, but his speed was not as fast as his, so he could not stop Zhu Wuxi's attack. On the other side, Gu Santong's eyes fell on the face of Yuan Zuzi of Kunlun sect. I didn't expect you to be able to use penetrating key power to enter the internal organs, Gu Santong said coldly. The Vajra indestructible divine art he practiced was an external force defense. His body was not yet indestructible. He was a little careless just now, allowing the opponent to get close to him. He exerted force with his palm and slapped 7 palms in a row. His internal organs were injured. Yuan Zuzi's face was gloomy. He had been hiding before, preparing to hit the opponent hard, but he didn't expect the opponent to take his palm hard. From the situation, it is impossible to tell how badly the other party was injured. The other party's internal ki was terrifying. The other Zuwashi was even more frightening. He could actually absorb other people's cultivation. This person made them more afraid than Gu Santong. "Brother, send me another person." Zuwashi looked at Gu Santong and said. "Brother." This time, Zuwashi's address made everyone's expression change. Xianaya Pavilion, East Pavilion, the Pavilion Master and the Deputy Pavilion Master were actually brothers. They didn't find out this. "Go and get rid of the white-haired old man. They should have no other masters. I will suppress these 3 people. Get rid of the old man, and you can absorb the cultivation of these 3 people," Gu Santong said. The voice fell. Gu Santong stepped on the ground. He rushed out violently. He had fought with the other party before. In fact, he wanted to see if there were any other masters of the sea who could concentrate their minds. Now it seems that there are none. Then kill them. Boom, the air wave rolled, and the golden energy in the fist attacked the 3 people. The fist was overbearing, and the speed was incredible. Gu Santong himself has extraordinary talent and is a martial arts fanatic. After arriving in this world, his strength is still improving. The best in the world. Gu Santong knows the power absorption method, but rarely uses it. However, he was able to fight with Zhu Wuxi, a master who absorbed the power of the 8 major sects, which shows how strong his own strength is. Although his internal organs were injured, it did not affect his fighting. The fists were earth-shattering and fell like an overwhelming force. Yuan Zuzi and the other 2 changed their faces and felt a strong sense of crisis. After looking at each other, the 3 people quickly dispersed. It was just that they ignored Gu Santong. Gu Santong not only knew the Vajra indestructible divine art, but also the unique skills of the 8 major sects. Boom, the moment the fist landed, countless gravel and dust rose up, and the 3 people's vision was blocked for a while. At this moment, Gu Santong's figure turned into a residual shadow and appeared in front of Su Quan, who was white-haired and black-robed. His palms turned into fingers, and the powerful Vajra finger instantly burst out with energy, and quickly pointed at the opponent's head. The white-haired old man in black robe changed his expression and moved his body to avoid the finger, but Gu Santong's fingers changed into claws and grabbed the opponent's shoulder. The power absorption method instantly exploded. Gu Santong was injured and wanted to recover from his own injuries. The terrifying section force instantly exploded. The white-haired old man in black robe felt the true energy in his Ganshin instantly poured into the opponent's palm, and the whole person twitched. At the moment when the true energy disappeared, Gu Santong's 5 fingers were long claws and directly pierced the opponent's head. At this time, the dust cleared. Yin Yuwei and Yuan Zuzi only saw Gu Santong with his fingers inserted into Su Quan's head. Su Quan's body shrank, and his energy disappeared. Originally, his hair was only gray and his face was full of energy, but now his face was colorless and his energy disappeared. His power was also absorbed. Yuan Zuzi's face changed. "Kill!" Yin Yuwei rushed out beside him at this moment. The huge true energy in his palm condensed, and the sky-lifting thunderbolt palm instantly exploded, and the terrifying energy burst out from his palm. The surrounding air was pressed under his palm and made a banging sound. Gu Santong looked stern, raised his palm, and blasted it out. It collided with the other party's palm. At this moment, Yuan Zuzi continued to rush towards Gu Santong. The phantom appeared in Gu Santong's palm at a very fast speed and fell on Gu Santong again. The palm rotated and slapped out the palm force continuously. The palm force formed a terrifying ki wave and went into Gu Santong's body. But this time his ki entered Gu Santong's body and seemed to be dissolved in an instant. Gu Santong practiced very hard. He also knew the method of Huaguang. Yuan Zuzi's face changed. His body retreated rapidly. Bang! Gu Santong shook off Yin Yuwei's attack with a palm, and his body shot towards Yuan Zuzi. The speed was so fast, and the violent power swarmed out, suppressing Yuan Zuzi's body. In the blink of an eye, his palm fell on the other party. The terrifying section force exploded instantly. The true energy in Yuan Zuzi's body surged towards Gu Santong. "You are looking for death? You underestimated my Kunlun and my Gyaxing." At this time, a thunderous voice sounded in the square outside the hall. Before the voice fell, the great elder of Kunlun sect, Xing raised his right arm, used his arm as a knife, and slashed out with a knife. A dazzling knife light like a stream of silk rose from the ground, and slashed towards Gu Santong with the force of splitting rivers. Gu Santong's eyes condensed. He put down Yuang Suzi, and the golden light around him surged, and he punched out. Colliding with his slashing knife energy, boom, the airwaves rolled, and the airwaves between Gu Santong and Xing were all dispersed, forming a vacuum area. A deep pit appeared under Gu Santong's feet. The opponent's knife just now was extraordinary. And just when Gu Santong collided with the knife energy, Yimui raised his palm and sucked Yuang Suzi over. However, at this time, the ki in Yuang Suzi's dancing had almost disappeared, and his body was weak and he had no strength to fight. He took out a pill and swallowed it into his mouth to recover some strength. He looked at Gu Santong with horror. He thought that Gu Santong was not as scary as Zhu Wuxi before. But now they found that the real horror was Gu Santong. This Gu Santong could not only transform the power, but also absorb the power. You go kill them, I'll deal with him. Gu Santong took a step, and his figure rose from the ground, and his body was covered with the golden light. The Vajra indestructible divine art consumes too much true energy, and it is impossible to use it endlessly in fighting with strong men. However, he just absorbed the power of 2C concentrated strong men, and the Vajra indestructible divine art can still continue to operate. At this time, the white-haired and white-robed Gui Yixing burst out with a terrifying sword intent. A sword shadow appeared behind him. The divine power of this old man is the power of the sword. See if my sword can cut your indestructible body. As the old man in white robe spoke, his arm became a sword and slashed out again. Gu Santong's fist exploded, and the fist exploded to shatter the sword energy, but when he shattered the sword energy, he heard the sound of swords ringing in his ears. The opponent's sword energy was not only powerful, but also fast, rushing over, tearing the air, and whistling. Gu Santong's body was shining with golden light. Resisting the sword energy, his body rushed forward and attacked Gui Yixing. At this time, Zhu Wuxi made a move and came in front of Yimui, with one hand and 5 fingers bent into a claw, grabbing his chest. Yimui stretched out his palm and grabbed it with the same palm. But at this time, Zhu Wuxi's body changed, turned around and appeared in front of Yuan Zuzi on the hand, and slapped Yuan Zuzi with his palm. Bang! Yuan Zuzi vomited blood and flew backwards. He hit the ground, his head was dizzy, and he lost consciousness. He didn't know whether he was dead or not. Chapter 646, Sacrifice of Spirit, Final Blade, Taking Over Kunlun. Yimui, who made the move, changed his expression, his palms turned into claws, and he took a series of steps. The blood in his palms surged, and the energy between his fingers was sharp, and he grabbed towards Zhu Wuxi's head. Zhu Wuxi snorted coldly. He slapped his palms and collided with the opponent's claws. But when the palms collided, the opponent changed his claws into palms, and a hot energy was in his palms. The palm power was like fire, and went to Zhu Wuxi's palms, without touching Zhu Wuxi's arm at all, not giving Zhu Wuxi the opportunity to absorb his power. From the situation just now, it is impossible to absorb other people's internal power without getting close. Zhu Wuxi's face condensed slightly, and the true energy in his palms burst out. He just absorbed the power of a C-concentrated strong man, plus the previous absorption of a C-concentrated strong man. His own power is not ordinary. You underestimate me too much? Do you think I really only know how to absorb power? Boom. The energy in his palms burst out, and a dragon-shaped true energy burst out in his palms, forming a terrifying energy and heading towards the opponent. Bang! The two men's ki surged. Yimui's eyes condensed, and he wanted to continue to attack. But Zhu Wuxi suddenly turned into a residual image and appeared in front of him. He grabbed his arm with his palm. A suction force instantly erupted. Seeing this, Yimui's face changed, and he raised his left hand, directly cut off his right arm with his true ki, and retreated rapidly. Chop off the flame knife. While retreating, he slashed with his palm, and the true ki flame knife went towards Zhu Wuxi. What a ruthless man! Zhu Wuxi didn't expect that the other party would actually cut off his arm directly. In this way, he avoided his suction method. Qiankun moved his body to avoid the knife, and was in front of the other party again. The palm fell on the other party's head with a claw. Yimui's face changed greatly. The other party was too fast, and his reaction could not keep up with the other party. Divine power, sky-lifting hand, Now the divine power erupted again, and the terrifying power erupted in the center of his palm. However, when he was running his power, blood sprayed from the broken right arm, making his face pale. Bang! Zhu Wuxi's divine power was also activated. Zhu Wuxi aimed to improve his own strength. The divine power he condensed was mainly based on the power absorption method, which produced a section force. Everything around him was heading towards him. His palm fell, but it was offset. Then a section force appeared. Yunui's body was out of control and was heading towards Zhu Wuxi. HMPH, if you want to deal with me, Xianaya Pavilion, you should first figure out our strength. If you are too blind, you will just kill yourself. As Zhu Wuxi spoke, he raised his hand and grabbed Yunui's neck. I think you should have something else to say. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. If Xianaya Pavilion appears, my Kunlun sect will disappear sooner or later if we don't fight for it. We must fight for a glimmer of hope. As Yunui spoke, his eyes were fierce. Zhu Wuxi's expression changed, his palm loosened, and his body quickly retreated. Bang! As soon as Yunui was released, his body exploded directly. The huge force of the self-explosion shocked Zhu Wuxi and sent him flying backwards. The blood in his body surged, and the explosion at close range caused Zhu Wuxi's blood to churn. Boom! On the other side, Gu Santong and the white-haired old man Gui Yixing separated. I didn't expect it to be like this again. Gui Yixing looked a little lonely. This time, their Kunlun sect was defeated again, and the defeat was even more miserable. His eyes turned cold. The sword intent around him condensed. At this moment, Gui Yixing's spirit and energy were all condensed, his face turned pale, and his aura quickly disappeared. But Gui Yixing's eyes became extremely bright. The body that lost its spirit and energy gave off a terrifying sword intent. With the appearance of the sword intent, the surrounding weather also changed, and an extremely depressing atmosphere appeared. This sword intent, Gu Santong's eyes shrank, and this sword intent made him feel a strong sense of oppression. The opponent's sword was extremely powerful. Gu Santong, this is my strongest attack. I really want to see if I can break your diamond indestructibility. Gui Yixing's eyes were full of brilliance, staring at Gu Santong closely. The gleam of light flashed in his eyes, revealing a dead look and unwillingness. Then let me see your sword. Gu Santong sensed the attack, and his aura began to change. He pushed the Vajra indestructible divine art to the extreme. The true energy in his body disappeared like a tide. The fist in his hand was also covered with the golden energy. Blocking is not to attack. If the opponent uses all his strength, then he must burst out with the strongest attack and send the opponent to his death. At this moment, Gu Santong's mind is also unblocked. The strength of this old man is stronger than the previous four. He puts pressure on him, but he knows that as long as he can withstand this attack and kill the opponent, his thoughts will be clear, and he may be able to comprehend that step. At this time, the blood and ki are stabilized, and Zhu Wuxi looks over here. He senses the power of the opponent's sword. Gui Yixing cuts with a sword. Gui Yixing shouted in a low voice, raised his arm, and a terrifying sword intent gathered on his arm. His figure flew into the air and his arm became a sword. Cut out with a sword. Chi. A terrifying sharp and surging sword energy appeared with the sword intent of tearing everything apart, and it shook the mind. At this moment, the sky and the earth seemed to be dim, and the surrounding air was oppressive like a rainy day. But Gu Santong did not punch immediately. He was feeling the opponent's sword energy. The surging sword energy hit his body fiercely. The Vajra indestructible divine art burst out to resist that power. It was really a constant consumption. It seemed that there was no way to replenish the internal force. It was only consumed. Gu Santong's eyes were fixed on the time when the hand knife fell. Concentrated. The moment the hand knife appeared in front of him. Boom. Gu Santong punched out. The golden fist was like a blazing sun, dispersing everything and colliding with the opponent's sword energy, melting the extremely sharp sword energy in the golden light. The fist and the hand knife collided with each other. Bang! The sword energy protecting the arm was shattered. The arm immediately shattered and turned into a piece of flesh and blood. Gui Yixing's body fell to the ground. The body fell to the ground. It's a pity. Although I broke your defense, it's useless. This is Kunlun's calamity. The sigh echoed in the air. After a punch, Gu Santong landed on the ground with a single fist, gasping for breath, blood flowing on his arm. But there was a gleam in his eyes. What a sharp and domineering blow. Thank you. This battle has taught me a lot. I believe it won't be long before I can go a step further, Gu Santong said in a deep voice. At this time, the battle outside Xianaya Pavilion was still going on. However, Gui Haiyadao and Guan Qi joined in and successfully killed the 4 Kunlun masters who had reached the 9 difficulties of heaven and man. The others were fighting among the disciples. Cheng Shifei and Shengwen Haidang led the disciples of Xianaya Pavilion and were counterattacking frantically. Kunlun masters were killed and injured. You go take over Kunlun sect, Gu Santong said to Zhu Wuxi. Chapter 647, Darkness, Sneak Attack, Gu Santong. How is your injury? Zhu Wuxi looked at Gu Santong. It doesn't matter. Take over Kunlun first. After taking over Kunlun, our East Pavilion will unify the entire frontier. In that case, I can enter the interior, Gu Santong said. As the head of the East Pavilion, he cannot be limited to the frontier. Fighting with the warriors of the Great Zhou dynasty is his wish. What's more, after this time, his strength will definitely be further improved. Zhu Wuxi glanced at Gu Santong, nodded and left. At this moment, the square seemed quiet. Gu Santong turned and walked towards his courtyard. After Gu Santong left, a man in a black robe slowly walked out of the dark. The aura of the black-robed man was restrained and did not leak out at all. This Gu Santong and Zhu Wuxi actually have the skills to absorb people's power, especially the Vajra indestructible divine art that Gu Santong practiced. His body defense is invincible and can also dissolve the energy entering the body. It is really too difficult to kill him. The head of the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion is really scary, the black-robed man murmured. Thinking of this, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Gu Santong is injured and seems unable to use the Vajra indestructible divine art for the time being. Perhaps this is a chance to kill him. Thinking of this, the black-robed man showed excitement on his face. If he could kill Gu Santong and find the secret book about the Vajra indestructible divine art or the absorbing power technique from him, his strength would surely improve by leaps and bounds. Of course, killing such a strong man is also his honor. This time, the Kunlun faction outside the Great Wall attacked the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion, on the order of the old Sizhu. Now the people sent by Kunlun have been completely destroyed and have not caused any harm to the other party. The plan can be said to have failed completely. There is a chance to kill Gu Santong. He needs to seize this opportunity. The rivers and lakes are for warriors. If you can't seize such an opportunity, then don't walk in the rivers and lakes. Be an ordinary person honestly. Thinking of this, there is no hesitation. Go in the direction where Gu Santong left. The backyard. A courtyard seems very peaceful. The disciples of Xianaya Pavilion were attracted by the bell and all joined the fight. Now they were summoned by Zhu Wuxi to Kunlun sect. The remaining disciples were sorting out the bodies left on the ground and cleaning up the blood stains. Gu Santong pushed open the door. But suddenly his hand stopped slightly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Creak. Then he slowly pushed the door open. At the moment of pushing the door, behind him, dozens of needle rains with blue light suddenly appeared and shot towards his back. Swish. 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 All those blue steel needles shot into Gu Santong's back. Gu Santong was shocked by this force and staggered into the room. He turned around and looked into the courtyard. A gray man in a black robe holding a cylinder was standing at the door of the courtyard. Sure enough, Gui Yixing's sword intent just now consumed your true energy, and you can no longer use the Vajra indestructible. The man in black looked at Gu Santong with excitement in his eyes. Whether Gu Santong was injured or not, his strength was terrifying, so he used hidden weapons to sneak attack. The steel needles were all coated with a deadly poison that would kill the enemy instantly. Gu Santong's back had been pierced by the poison needle. He was now confident that he could kill Gu Santong. Who are you? Your concealment skills are extraordinary, Gu Santong looked at the other party and said. If the other party had not just appeared at a close distance, he really could not sense it. The other party's aura was not strong, but he could not sense it, which showed that the other party must have a good concealment skill. Kill me, and I will let you know who I am. While speaking, a sharp flying knife appeared in the palm of the man in black, and the energy on the flying knife flowed, emitting a sharp cold light. As an excellent hunter, he would never put himself in the most dangerous place. So the best skill he practiced was the flying knife. The flying knife in his hand was raised. Gu Santong's eyes condensed slightly. The moment the other party raised the flying knife, a breath instantly locked his throat. Although the black-clothed man was not strong, the flying knife was still good. Swish! The flying knife turned into a sharp cold light and flew towards Gu Santong's throat. It was very fast. But when it was about to reach Gu Santong's throat, Gu Santong raised his right hand, and the palm of his hand showed gold, and he grabbed the flying knife shot by the other party. Then he squeezed it hard, and the sharp flying knife was directly squeezed into a ball of scrap metal by his palm. You are very careful, but you are still very weak to me. Tell me your origins, or I can give you a whole body. Gu Santong looked at the other party and said coldly. How could you? You were hit by my poison needle. Even if there is a little internal force left in your body, you can't use it. The black-clothed man showed a look of horror on his face. The reason why he was so calm just now was because the previous poison needle had already shot into Gu Santong's body. It was a deadly poison that could corrode the internal organs. Bang! Just as he spoke, Gu Santong's body shook. The dozens of steel needles on his back shot out instantly, and nailed to the wall behind him with a bang. They were just caught by my muscles, Gu Santong was talking. He moved his footsteps and appeared in front of the other party in the blink of an eye. He raised his palm and grabbed the other party's throat. Tell me, who are you? The man in black appeared in the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion at this time. It seems that he knew the time when Kunlun sect attacked the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion. Then it must be related to Kunlun sect's attack on Xianaya Pavilion. So Gu Santong didn't kill the other party immediately after he found him, but wanted to lure him to say something? But the other party was very cautious and didn't reveal anything. Gu Santong also knew that he couldn't lure him out, so he took action directly. You won't know. Just as Gu Santong's voice fell, black blood began to flow from the corner of the other party's mouth, and he took poison to commit suicide. The poison was so strong that he was gone in the blink of an eye. What a powerful poison. What is this? Gu Santong thought to himself. Then he began to search the other party, but he didn't find any useful clues, so he put the body aside. He was ready to wait for Zhu Wuxi and the others to come back and let them investigate. He went into the bedroom. He sat cross-legged and began to regulate his breathing. The sword intent of Gui Yixing just now was very strong. He needed to recover from his injuries and comprehend what he had just gained from the battle. Jian and Jinling City on the building ship. Su Chen put down the secret letter in his hand. His eyes narrowed slightly. What does this Yongding want to do? Why is he so interested in being an enemy of my Qinglong society? Su Chen said in a deep voice. He was not worried about the outside of the Great Wall. Gu Santong, Vajra indestructible, and the great power absorption method complement each other. They are not afraid of siege, not to mention that there are the unique skills of the 8 major sects, plus Zhu Wuxi, the great power absorption method, and the great shift of the universe. Encircling and killing them will increase their strength. However, he was very concerned about the appearance of Yongding in the 9 northern counties. Di Wuhao was able to survive and escape under the siege of so many people, which shows his strength. Tian Dingguang is one of the giants of the Ministry of Personnel. His strength is absolutely extraordinary, so he needs to be paid attention to. Xianaya Pavilion East Pavilion, taking over the Kunlun sect outside the Great Wall, becoming the strongest force outside the Great Wall, and rewarding 3 orange lottery cards. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 648 Character Ban Xianyu, off-phase second half of Life Cultivation card. Kunlun has been taken down, but I don't know what the battle situation was like at that time. I hope to get the battle situation as soon as possible, Su Chen thought to himself. Su Chen was not surprised to be able to take down Kunlun, but the battle must be very difficult, and he wanted to know. Kunlun actually chose to take action, so he must have a certain degree of confidence. Su Chen still wanted to know some of the battle situation. Looking at the 3 orange lottery cards he had just obtained, Su Chen did not hesitate and drew them directly. Now that he has the lottery cards, he must draw them to see if he can get some characters or treasures, obtain 1 Huihei pill, the character Ban Xianyu, and the phase second half life cultivation card. Su Chen was stunned when he saw this. The rewards drawn this time are not ordinary. Not to mention Ban Xianyu, he also drew a phase second half life cultivation card. Let's not talk about Bai Tianyu first, but let's talk about Afei's second half-life cultivation card. In the post-ancient dragon era, Afei was known as the world's fastest sword. In the early days, Fu Hongxue and Lu Xiaojia could only lose in front of him. In the later period, Afei has become a legendary figure of the times. Afei's qualifications are not inferior to anyone. After all, Afei is the son of the first decade of Gulong, so how can his qualifications be poor? He believes that if Afei gets the second half of his life cultivation card, his strength will definitely reach the level of sea concentration. In this way, the strength of Qilin Club in the 9 northern counties will increase a little. As for Bai Tianyu, he is a figure in Snowflake Goddess Dragon, and his strength can be ranked in the top 4 among the Snowflake Goddess Dragon. He practices the indestructible body of the Golden Buddha. After checking his strength, Bai Tianyu's strength is at the level of sea concentration, but there is no note of breaking. It is estimated that he is not a top sea concentration expert. Huidan, a kind of elixir that can help celestial warriors and have a chance to turn the Danshan into the sea. The harvest is good. Bai Tianyu can be sent to the East Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion to become an elder. Now that the East Pavilion has taken down the Kunlun sect, it also needs to add some masters and start peripheral expansion. A place outside the Great Wall cannot stop the pace of the East Pavilion, Su Chen thought to himself. At this time, outside the door, Yuan Suyin brought Zhuang Zuanji in. A few days ago, Su Chen and Zhuang Zuanji met her father Zhuang Mingfen, and asked Zhuang Mingfen to help decompose the gold notes. Su Chen's power is increasing now, and it takes a lot of energy to improve the martial arts. Especially for martial artists below the Danshan Huahei, cultivation resources are the most important. Otherwise, even if the divine power is condensed, the power will be affected. Master Su, my father is willing to help with the exchange of gold notes, Zhuang Zuanji said happily after coming in. The last time Su Chen went to see Zhuang Mingfen, when he proposed this matter, Zhuang Mingfen did not agree immediately, saying that he would consider it. Unexpectedly, Zhuang Zuanji came today and agreed. Or it can be said that Zhuang Mingfen did not agree at that time, just to use Zhuang Zuanji to agree to this matter. This can help Zhuang Zuanji get closer to him, revealing a kind of shrewdness. However, how can someone who can develop a bank into the third bank be simple? There is another thing. My father got the news that Du Guiwei left Jinling and went to Lingjiang area, Zhuang Zuanji said in a deep voice. You said Du Guiwei was in Jinling city and went to Lingjiang area from here. What does he want to do? Is he looking for Guan Yushin? Su Chen frowned slightly when he heard this. This was something he didn't expect. He had originally thought of letting Guan Yushin secretly help the Qilin society in the 9 northern counties. Unexpectedly, Du Guiwei would go to Lingjiang area at this time. This disturbed his plan. If it doesn't work, let Guan Yushin play a guest role in the Qilin society first, Su Chen thought in his heart. But why did Du Guiwei know that I was in Jinling and didn't do anything to me? Du Guibao's death is still related to me, Su Chen then murmured. Maybe the status is not equal. Du Guiwei is the great general king, and although the young master is the young dragon chief of the Qilin Club, he is not yet at the position that the great general king has to come to see him, Zhuang Zuanji said on the side. Hearing this, Su Chen was slightly startled. It is true. The young dragon chief of the Qilin Club. Perhaps in the 9 northern counties, he can be looked up to, and the younger generation will also pay attention to him. But for you and Du Guiwei, who are not only powerful but also have a high status in the great Zhou dynasty, people really disdain to meet you. When the time comes, I will let the former general manager send this news out. Your father should not provide this news for no reason, he should have some ideas. Su Chen looked at Zhuang Zuanji and said. He had seen Zhuang Mingfen, a pure businessman, and businessmen are people who focus on interests. He would not tell him this news for no reason. After all, if Su Chen told Guan Yushin about this news, Guan Yushin would owe Su Chen a favor. The favor of the strong is not simple. Of course, Su Chen was also somewhat surprised by Zhuang Mingfen's power. After all, he could actually know Du Guiwei's whereabouts. My father wants to cooperate with the money houses in the 9 northern counties of Xiaolongshou. The model can be the same as in the Lingjiang area, Zhuang Zuanji said. Well, are you going to send me money? Su Chen showed a smile on his face. Cooperating with his Huangjia money house is beneficial to Su Chen. After all, The money house business is not just about saving money, there are other businesses. This Huangjia money house is more operational than them. Our Huangjia money house in the Huaiyan area was suppressed, so we thought about moving the money house in the Huaiyan area to the 9 northern counties, which would also reduce the losses in the Huaiyan area, Zhuang Zuanji said. Huaiyan area, the territory of King Liu, why would they suddenly suppress your Huangjia money house? Hearing this, Su Chen was a little puzzled. Recently, the Liu Palace in Huaiyan area was attacked. Liu King began to recruit martial artists, saying that he wanted to clean up the martial arts forces in Huaiyan area. Recruiting martial artists requires a lot of resources, so he has set his sights on our banker's bank, Zhuang Zuanji replied. Hearing this, Su Chen was stunned. The recent events in Liu Palace in Huaiyan area were all caused by Kui Wuhu and Wudu Tuangzi. I didn't expect that Liu King would start recruiting martial arts masters to clean up the martial arts forces in Huaiyan area for this matter. But then I thought about it and found that there was something weird in it. Although Kui Wuhu and Wudu Tongzi had done something big, it was not enough for Liu King to clean up the martial arts forces in Huaiyan area. It should be that Liu King was planning something. It seems that we need to notify Kui Wuhu and others to investigate what Liu King is going to do. Liu King was someone Su Chen secretly knew. Of course Liu King himself didn't know that he had such an enemy. At this time, in the county government of Longbai County, a middle-aged man was sitting on the main seat with a big horse and a golden sword. This person was wearing a brocade robe, with a tall and strong figure, long black hair, a majestic aura, a sharp and unruly look, and exuding a heroic aura. His eyes were looking coldly at Du Kang, the new governor of the 9 northern counties. This is the information of the Qinglong Society, which is useless. The only useful person is Su Chen from the Shan sect, but this Su Chen has gone to Jiangnan. You mean, I sent people to Jiangnan to catch Su Chen back? The tone was cold and stern. Du Kang below trembled all over. The person in front of him was one of the giants of the Ministry of Personnel of the Great Zhou Dynasty, and one of the 3 great dukes of the Great Zhou Dynasty, Duke Xianding. One sentence could decide his fate. 2 updates on Saturdays and Sundays, no need to wait. Chapter 649, Bloody Hand Killer, wants to attack, Shanman. Du Kang was terrified, sweat dripping down his forehead. He stood below with his head down. He had no good idea now. The only open base of the Qinglong Society was the Shanman. But Su Chen of the Xiangmen had already left the 9 northern counties and was reported to be in Jinling City in the south of the Yangtze River. He racked his brains. Suddenly his eyes lit up. Sir, Su Chen of the Xiangmen is not here, but the Xiangmen is here. The person who handles things in the Xiangmen on a daily basis, his name's Zhuge Zhangwo. He must be from the Qinglong Society. As long as we take down Zhuge Zhangwo, or the Xiangmen, we will surely be able to find some clues about the Qinglong Society, Du Kang said with a quick mind. Whether it is useful or not, let's say this first. If it is useful, he can deal with the Xianding Duke in front of him, and he can also sit firmly in the position of the new governor of the 9 northern counties. My lord, what Lord Du Kang said does make sense. How about I go to Shanman and capture Zhuge Zhangwo myself? Behind Lord Xianding, there was a middle-aged man in a black robe. He had a resolute face and a very ordinary appearance, but he also exuded a terrifying aura. This man was Xiao Zhen, one of the guest officials of the Ministry of Personnel who followed Lord Xianding to the 9 northern counties. Although this man had an ordinary face, he was ruthless. Before joining the Ministry of Personnel, he had no record of war, but after joining the Ministry of Personnel, he killed a sect with his own strength and killed everyone in the sect. He was very famous in the Ministry of Personnel at that time and was called the Bloody Hand Butcher. However, he disappeared in the past few years and has been in seclusion in the Ministry of Personnel. I didn't expect that he would come to the 9 northern counties with Lord Xianding this time. If guest official Xiao takes action, I'm afraid Shanman will really be a river of blood, Du Kang below thought to himself. After hearing this, Tian Dingguang pondered for a moment and said, You go with Yuan Yu and bring Zhuge Zhangwo back alive. I want to see how the Qinglong Society reacts, Tian Dingguang said in a deep voice. I will definitely bring Zhuge Zhangwo back intact. Xiao Zhen and another person bowed at the same time. Then the two bowed and walked out of the hall. You go back first and see if there are any other clues, Tian Dingguang said to Du Kang below. I will go back and send someone to investigate immediately and try to find useful clues. Du Kang touched the sweat on his forehead and bowed to leave the hall. He was secretly glad that he had escaped a disaster. There were only 2 people left in the hall. Tian Dinggong and an old man in a dark red robe. The old man's face was slightly pale, his eyes were condensed, and there was a coldness between his eyebrows. His hair was not white but a strange black color, and there was a faint aura flowing between them. From this, it can be seen that the other party is not a kind-hearted person. My lord, Xiangman is just an open base of the other party. If Xiao Zhen removes it this time, then the King Long Hu's open base will disappear, which may become more difficult, the old man said in a deep voice. It doesn't matter. I need such means to let the forces in the Great Zhou dynasty know the means of my Ministry of Personnel. Recently, 2 sword masters appeared in the King Long Hu in the capital. They are very popular and have overshadowed the major assassin organizations in the Jianghu. They have also appeared in Jiangnan. They want to expand wantonly. I will pour some cold water on them. As long as we move, I think other forces will also move and suppress them. After all, the Jianghu is big or small, and there are only so many benefits. No one wants their benefits to be taken away by others, it's just that there is no opportunity. I will give them this opportunity. What's more, the other party has not appeared. I need to force them to show up. Otherwise, if I waste time with them like this, they can consume, but I can't. I can't stay in the 9 northern counties all the time. What is the attitude of the Qinglong Temple? Xian Dinggong said calmly and analyzed thoroughly. There was no worry in his words. Qinglong Temple, there is no response yet, but the people of Dashan Temple are pushing this matter. I will go to Qinglong Temple a few more times. I believe that the people of Qinglong Club will be suspicious. Qinglong Temple will also sense the crisis. Although they are in seclusion, there can't be 2 tigers in one mountain. Qinglong Temple is now on the territory of Qinglong Club. They can only surrender to Qinglong Club to make Qinglong Club feel at ease. However, Qinglong Temple is the source of tantric Buddhism. How can it be inferior to Qinglong Club? So the war is inevitable. Qinglong Temple also understands this and allows us to enter Qinglong Temple. I guess they also want to test Qinglong Club, the old man said softly. Humph, a bunch of bald donkeys, just playing this trick. I hope they can be more powerful, Xian Dinggong said coldly. You should also continue to contact Dashan Temple. They appeared in the 9 northern counties, so their ideas must be complicated. If Qinglong Temple is hesitant, let Dashan Temple force them to take action, Tian Dinggong said in a deep voice. I understand. At this time, the new governor of the governor's office, Du Kang, returned to the mansion. He immediately arranged for strict precautions in the mansion. Then he returned to the study alone. Tian Dinggong wanted to deal with Xiangman, and sent Xiao Zhen. Once, Xiangman was bloody, King Longhu would inevitably retaliate, and he, the governor, might be the first to suffer. As long as they fight, who cares whether you are the governor or not? It seems that our governor is very scared. Just when he was relaxing, a low voice sounded in his ears. Du Kang raised his head and looked towards the place where the voice was spoken. His eyes showed a look of horror, and he stuttered, Qinglong Society, Zuyairen, don't be nervous, I just want to ask the governor, what did you say to Xian Dinggong today? And what plans does Xian Dinggong have? I think the governor should tell us. After all, the governor doesn't want to die in this governor's mansion like when Yifan, Xian Dinggong, he is leaving here, but you still have to stay here. Sometimes people need to cherish their lives, Zuyairen said coldly. While speaking, a sword intent appeared on his body, condensed out, and the cold sword intent, with murderous intent, enveloped Du Kang. In an instant, Du Kang felt an extremely cold breath enveloping his whole body. The shadow of death was like a mountain pressing on his heart. His face turned pale and cold sweat ran down. He was nervous before when he was with Xian Dinggong, but now he was scared. Although he had some strength and reached the level of heaven and man, in front of Zuyairen, he knew that he could not get out of his sword at all. Speak, bang! Just when he wanted to speak, Zuyairen shouted, and the ki in his body suddenly burst out, all pressing on him. Du Kang knelt on the ground. Duke Xianding, send Xiao Zhen and Yuan Mu to Xianmen. I don't know much about Yuan Mu, but Xiao Zhen once massacred a sect force with blood, and his methods were cruel. They want to bring Zhu Zhangguo back, Du Kang, who was kneeling on the ground, said hurriedly. Chapter 650, Intercept, Killed before entering. They are really brave to attack the Xiangmen, Governor Du. This time, we, King Longhu, have seen your sincerity. I believe that we will get along well in the 9 northern counties in the future." After saying that, Zhu Yiren turned and left. Inside the house, the kneeling Du Kang slowly stood up and breathed deeply. Sitting on the sandalwood chair at the desk, he began to ponder. Thinking back to what Zhu Yiren said just now, the meaning was very clear, that is, if he cooperated with King Longhu, then nothing would happen. I didn't expect that in just a few years, the martial arts forces can now threaten a governor. It's really sad, Du Kang said with a sigh. When Emperor Zhou founded the country, who dared to do this in the entire Great Zhou dynasty? If you do this, you will only be killed. But since Emperor Zhou went into seclusion and relaxed his control over the martial arts world, the martial arts world began to change. Now it has become like this. How long will your majesty stay in seclusion? Is it true that, as the rumors say, your majesty's seclusion failed, resulting in his inability to manage the affairs of the martial arts world? I wonder if Xiao Zhen and the others can come back, now that the Qinglong Society knows that Xiao Zhen and the others have attacked the Xiangmen. They may not let them come back. It is rumored that the 3 people brought by Shindinggong are all powerful concentrated masters. If the Qinglong Society prevents the 2 from coming back this time, I will join the Qinglong Society. Thinking of this, Du Kang's expression became peaceful. This is the world of martial arts. The strong are respected. He does not need to blame himself. Everything is for the sake of saving his life. A manner. In a secret room, Li Chenshao is practicing cross-legged. Opposite him, Liu Sheng Yijin is also sitting cross-legged. The qi in Li Chenshao's body is overwhelming, forming a tight and tilting out of his body. Not far away from him, Liu Sheng Yijin, the qi in his whole body leaks out, resisting this wave of qi, and quickly circulates his own blood and qi under the wave of qi. Boom! Under the wandering of the 2 qi, a divine aura appeared on Li Chenshao's body. The fist shadow appeared, and the surrounding air wave seemed to stop instantly. And Liu Sheng Yijin's body shook, and the true energy in his body was suppressed by this divine power, and he felt a sense of being shattered. But the power of the divine power did not increase, so this sense of shattering continued to suppress Liu Sheng Yijin. Liu Sheng Yijin's pursuit of martial arts can be described as ruthless and ruthless. After stepping into the Danshan Sea of transformation, he wanted to see if he could condense the divine power. He practiced a ruthless swordsmanship. Compared with Zimanchuk Su, Yan Shizhen and others, his swordsmanship emphasizes not touching anything except himself. Everything in the world can be killed for the sake of martial arts. The divine power he wants to comprehend is killing. Everything can be killed under one sword. While Li Chenshao was helping Liu Sheng Yijin condense the divine power, his own divine power was also constantly increasing. Li Chenshao's fist is power, and power is hegemony. So his fist is actually a punch to determine life and death, and a punch to dominate the world. Now that his divine power has been strengthened, he can suppress his divine power, allowing it to be compressed and strengthened invisibly. Once it explodes, it will definitely be earth-shattering. After a while, the 2 of them retracted their auras. I believe that after a while, you will be able to condense your divine power. Li Chenshao looked at Liu Sheng Yijian and said. It will take some time, but not too long. Maybe before Lord Yongding takes action, I can condense my divine power, Liu Sheng Yijian said. The 2 stood up. At this time, the passage to the secret room was opened. Zhu Yiren, dressed in green, stepped in. Lord Yongding has taken action and sent people to Xiangmen to capture Zhu Zhengwo. He wants to understand the situation of our King Longhu and lead us to take action. The people who took action are named Xiao Zhen and Yuan Mu. They may be the powerful concentrated masters, Zhu Yiren said. What a good trick. 2 concentrated masters went to Xiangmen. What a good move. This is to let us use our power to intercept them. It seems that the news you got is what Lord Yongding wanted to pass on to us, Li Chenshao said. Compared with Zhu Yiren and Liu Sheng Yijin, Li Chenshao is the overlord of the Jianghu power gang, is the largest gang in the Jianghu, and both means and strength are indispensable. Shindinggong sent someone to take action. King Longhu is the overlord of the 9 northern counties. If this information cannot be found, it will not be the overlord of the 9 northern counties. In this case, I believe that Shindinggong will be very disappointed. The 3 dragon heads mean that Shindinggong is testing us, Zhu Yiren said in a deep voice. Is he testing us to know the whereabouts of the 2 people? Li Chenshao said. The two people are so powerful that they can concentrate their minds in the sea. The people we are following cannot lock on to their whereabouts, Zhu Yiren said in a deep voice. The strong people who concentrate their minds in the sea have strong spiritual perception, and not everyone can track them. Is this going to compete with us in Xiangmen? Li Chenhao frowned slightly. Then they will be disappointed. Now there are 3 strong people who concentrate their minds in the sea in Xiangmen. They have no chance of coming out alive, Liu Shengyijin said coldly. Emperor Knight, Future, and Xiao Keishu have all stepped into the sea to concentrate their spirits. The 3 of them are all the overlords of the Jianghuvan era. After they have condensed their divine power, they can no longer be regarded as ordinary sea-concentrated masters. Adling Peng and Yan Nanshan. They can only go without return. We can't let them reach Shan Gate. Going to Shan Gate is also a blow to us. We must kill them before they step into Shan Gate. You two take action and must find their traces before they step into Lingnan County. Send people to kill them, Li Chenhao said in a deep voice. This is a test from the other party. He must pay a heavy price for his test. While speaking, a secret door was opened. A Fei, dressed in plain clothes and with a long sword on his waist, walked in. Compared with the previous sharp swordsmanship, the current Fei has a restrained look and a calm aura, but when Li Chenhao and the other 2 saw a Fei, their expressions were stunned. Liu Shengyijin and Zhu Yiren felt a dangerous aura from Ah Fei. To be able to make them feel the danger, Ah Fei's strength must have entered the sea of concentration. Congratulations, Li Chenhao looked at Ah Fei and spoke first. It's just that I took a shortcut compared to the other 2, Ah Fei said, and got the second half of his life cultivation card. The cultivation card is not only about cultivation, but also about the understanding of martial arts in life. I met Master Wu Hou before. Qinglong Temple wants to cooperate with Shindinguang, but it has not officially agreed yet, and Wu Hou found out that Qinglong Temple may have 3 people who are in the sea of concentration, and one of them is very powerful. Before Ah Fei came, he secretly met with Monk Wu Hou. 3 strong people in the sea of concentration. This secret Buddhist temple is not simple, it's actually comparable to the strong people in the sea of concentration of Xiangshi. Li Chenhao had a hint of surprise on his face. Ah Fei, you also have to return to Shan Gate. It just so happens that Lord Shinding has sent people to attack Shan Gate. The 3 of you should go out together and make sure to find the whereabouts of the 2 people who went to Shan Gate. While Li Chenhao was speaking, he told Ah Fei the news that Xiao Zhen and the other man were going to Shan Gate. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.